Mic check. Oh, you guys almost got a third one. I was not sufficiently prepared for today. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's good to see you. Good to be seen wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. Title of today's video, at least on Twitch, is I owe Jasmine Crockett an apology. And I do owe Jasmine Crockett an apology, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Did anybody guess the hat right? Did we get it right? I thought I had lost this hat. I'm missing, in my move, I'm missing like a bunch of hoodies and some hats. And I, for the life of me, can't figure out where the fuck they are. My cam's clear today. Hot damn. I never know. I never, ever know what the camera's going to look like. I've been messing with it. I changed the lighting a little bit. I don't have the windows open. I have a light from the side instead of the natural light. So I don't know. One day I'm going to figure it out. The hat is tan or khaki. Would we call it khaki? I'm not sure. The universe took away my scum devil hat. No, it's my scum devil hat is right there. I wore it yesterday, not on the stream, but later. And actually, somebody else called me out on wearing a devil's hat yesterday. So this one I have a hard time like getting centered on my head. Beige, we call it beige. I like beige. Khaki. What's the difference between tan and khaki? Is there really a difference? I don't know what is the difference? Also, khaki is a weird spelling. Tone. Oh, here we go. Can't really see it very well. Let's check the images here. Khaki. What? Oh, no, that's chinos and khakis. What about? Oh, there we go. Okay, tan is dark. So I would say this is more cream, I guess. Got cream on my head. I would say this hat is cream. If we're looking at that. Camel? How's camel? It's camel. Camel tan beige cream nude. It's not nude. It's cream. So there we go. Good morning, everybody. Oh, Mike, you're here. Patrick, you're here early. Good to have you. Just talking about shades of brown. That's all we're doing here. This is now a style channel. We're going to talk about style all the time now. All day, every day. Let me pull up, actually. I need to turn my notifications off on my phone real fast. And we'll jump in. Sorry. I was really prepared for the show today. And then like any good ADHDer, I just changed entirely what I wanted to do like an hour and a half ago. And so then we were scrambling for the rest of the day. I posted this in Discord, but some don't know. I'll be hanging out on TikTok tonight. I'm not exactly sure where. Somewhere, wherever Liv is, you'll be able to find me. They're doing a toy drive for students, I believe, from Liv's school. I'll get more details on that. But there's a toy drive going on, and there's an Amazon wish list for that I dropped in the Discord. And I think that list will be available while we do the toy drive as well. So that's what I'll be doing tonight. During that live, I would prefer nobody be gifting me. Just if you're going to gift me, see if you can find something on that wish list and send it to a kid who deserves some presents on Christmas. What happened to date night? I just got tired of it, if we're being honest. It's debating the same people over and over again. I feel I didn't feel like we were getting good debates. I felt like every week it was the same 4 or 5 people. Most of them everybody hated anyways, and then it was bleeding into. Then I had to like start. I kept getting messages about whatever live Admir was in, and I didn't really care, and so I was tired of having to answer to that. So I just kind of gave up on date night. It's not I didn't think it was really like beneficial to anybody. I didn't feel like we accomplished much. And frankly, it was a lot of time spent, and there's virtually no revenue made there. It's all the same people. It's, I mean, I don't know how people are doing with debate channels. I'm not sure. I'm guessing Parker and Dean still do really, really well, but if you don't have that type of audience, it's kind of hard to get anybody other than the same 5 people every time. I'm old enough to remember Jones's toy drive. Let me say this. I do not do unless I can verify a charity, I don't do those type events where we're just raising money that's going to go into the pockets of a content creator where we have to trust that the content creator will give that money. So as far as I know, these toys are going, I've seen pictures of them under the tree. As far as I know, these toys are going to those kids, but I guess I can ask a few more questions if you want. Dean and Parker still get debates, but the majority of the people come up and yell slurs. I saw that the other day. I think it was Parker's. It was like 4 people in a row just came up and dropped a bunch of slurs. The Groypers are really feeling themselves right now. They're really happy with how the world is going for them. So that should be no surprise there. What am I? Oh, I'm missing Discord. I knew I was missing at least one window there. Go over here, Jen. I'll jump in the VC. There we go. Am I already getting yelled at? Gift goal, VC. Oh, I got to change the gift goal. There we go. Gotcha. All right. Almost there. We almost started, right? Boom, boom. Jen, can you hear me? Oh, you can go live with the 0 followers on TikTok now? Wow. That's a big change.
Now.
Hey, good. Good morning.
Good morning. Did you move the links up a little higher?
On which one? The ones at the bottom?
Mm-hmm.
All right, they're up a little higher now. Let me know if that works. All right, let's jump in today. GOP unveiled their healthcare plan. Then I'm getting a little feedback from you.
Oh, no, you didn't move them up above where donations are.
There?
I'm down on the vertical one. Yeah, a little lower.
And then they're going to cover up the logo. Now I got to resize the logo.
No, you don't have to. Just put it underneath donations. Just
under donations? Then all right. What about if
or move it down there?
What about right there? How's that? We good?
It'll work. It'll work. Yes,
actually, I can center it a little better there.
Yes.
Oh shit!
Much better. Oh shit! What did you do?
I just changed the size. I fucking hate this.
There we go.
Now it's centered. Got it.
Got it. All right. Don't touch anything. Okay.
This is ADHD versus OCD that you're watching right now. It's like grasshopper versus spider. I like it.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. Let's move this over here. The GOP unveiled their healthcare plan, and it's so good. You guys not gonna be surprised. One thing that they made sure to do is do what Donald Trump wanted, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But here's a clip of what Trump wanted included in the healthcare plan.
What I'm going to do is, if the Democrats go along with it, which they don't want to because they want to make the insurance companies very rich, okay? I want the money to be paid to the people to go out and buy their own health care instead of paying to the insurance companies. Their stock has gone up 1,700% in a short period of time. Did you know that? 1,700. You wish your corn went up, right? But the insurance companies, stock has gone up by 1,700%, 1,800%. They're taking in trillions of dollars. I don't want to pay the insurance companies anything, and I know a lot of them, but they're owned by the Democrats, and the Democrats have.
We own them, guys, just so you know. Why does anybody listen to this guy? Like, why doesn't anybody stop and be like, dude, that's just so fucking stupid. That's just so dumb.
Obamacare is a setup to make insurance companies rich. And I want to pay the people, and I want the people to go out and buy their own health care.
From who? Who would they buy health care from? We cannot keep pretending that this isn't stupid, Republicans. I don't know if we have that many here. I know we've got our normal group. Somebody want to explain this to me, how this is different? Well, I don't want to keep giving them money. I want to give the money to the people so they can give the money to the healthcare companies. Oh. Somebody want to explain it to me, how this is different? I know a guy on the corner. Yeah. Anybody? Okay. Nobody? Got it.
And that's what we want to do, and that's what the Republicans want to do.
So here's what they came up with. This is, you can go read the plan, but basically here's what they've come up with. Americans cannot afford health care. True. They need a serious solution that provides real relief to a broken system. True. In line with Trump's call, Republicans propose redirecting money going to insurance companies back to the patients. But then back to the insurance companies, right? Because if you, instead of giving money to these folks, insurance companies, if you give it to the patients to buy insurance, then they will buy it from insurance companies. Are you all this dumb? Do you think that Republicans are just all this dumb? They've got to know, right? They have to know that this isn't any different. It's the same thing. This approach builds on the success of the Working Families Tax Cut Act, which expanded health savings account eligibility by allowing accounts to be paired with more affordable insurance plans. When they say more affordable insurance plans, what they mean is that the premiums are lower, and the premiums are lower because the deductibles are higher. So they're just saying it will be cheaper for you to pay your monthly premiums for these products, but if you get sick, it's going to cost you more because your deductible will be much, much higher. That's all they're saying. When they say they're going to drive down the cost, like it's a gimmick. It's a trick. It's not actually making things more affordable. It's just saying that your monthly premiums could be less. And they're also saying 11% less, which is great. But what if you get sick? These pre-funded, patient-driven accounts will help Americans pay for the out-of-pocket costs that are making healthcare unaffordable. Do you see how they're just they're just lying? It's not the out-of-pocket costs that everybody's complaining about. It's their premiums that everybody's complaining about. The out-of-pocket costs are going up if you have a high deductible. If you have a lower deductible, then the out-of-pocket costs could be going down. Just depends on what you choose. This bill also directly lowers premiums by 11% in 2027 and beyond by providing cost-sharing reduction payments. This isn't a plan. This is just saying like, hey, is your auto insurance too expensive? Yeah, it's too expensive. Great. Why don't you switch to liability only? I actually just did that. I have a cheap, shitty car. And my cheap, shitty car has like some flaw where it's easy to get stolen. And so my cheap, shitty car was like $260 a month to insure. And the car, I think if I sold it, I could get like $6,000 for it. And so I'm like, this is stupid that I'm paying, $2,500, I guess, $2,700 a month. It's not a Kia. Fuck you. It's a Hyundai. I don't go anywhere. I'm not a car person, and I hate having a car payment. So I just switched to liability only. So if I get in a wreck and it's my fault, the insurance will cover that. If I get hit by somebody who's uninsured, I'm out of car. But the chances of that are low, so I'm taking a risk here. But it wasn't like my insurance got cheaper because somebody helped me out. It was because I chose to take a bigger risk. Hyundai is Kia. No, Kia is Hyundai. Watch it. I know they're the same thing. I just wanted to correct you. I've had almost exclusively Hyundais in my life. I've had an Explorer before. I had an Audi for like 2 months, and it cost me an absolute fortune. It wasn't even like a nice Audi. That sucked. And I had a Acura that the transmission went out, Ford, which was fine, and every other car. I had a Nissan truck once. And every other car I've had has been a Hyundai, I think, and literally never had a problem with it. No, Genesis is Hyundai. Kia's line is they don't have like their own line, but Genesis was Hyundai. It was the like Hyundai Genesis first, then they got rid of Hyundai and they just called it Genesis. I did have a Genesis. It was my favorite car that I've ever had. Anyways, that's all the Republicans are doing here. This is all smoke and mirrors. They're just saying like, hey, we're going to give you it's the same plans that you have now, but if you choose a much higher deductible, we'll give you lower out of pocket, or we'll give you lower premiums, and we're going to do these HSAs. I looked at like the savings on HSA. It's between like 0.5 and 0.7% annually. So what they're saying is the government, I think, is supposed to then. They're not even sending the money directly to the people. I figured out how they're going to do this. It's $1,000 for everybody between the age of 18 and 49. And that $1,000 is supposed to go into an HSA. And then obviously that HSA can collect interest, which is, again, like 0.5 to 0.7%. And that's assuming that you don't use any of that to pay for healthcare. So that's it. That was their whole plan. They had volumes, Mike Johnson told us, notebooks full of ideas. And their idea was, what if we give people shittier insurance with a higher deductible? That'll drive the cost down. And that's it. Quit forcing insurance on people who don't want it. It's not. You're not forced to have insurance. You guys are so goddamn stupid. Like this is ideological capture at its finest. This is just people who are on the right who will just argue anything about the left. Just anything. This shouldn't be a political issue. It's only a political issue because we're that divided. If you find yourself saying this is a good plan, you're just ideologically captured, or you're captured by the party politics. It's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing that you would come up here and be like, oh, this is great. Democrats, on the other hand, their plan isn't great. Their solution to this is also fucking stupid. Their solution is to extend the ACA subsidies for 3 years. No sunset provisions in those 3 years, just a 3-year extension on the ACA subsidies. That's not going to address the growing the price increases. That's not going to address the overbilling. Neither of these plans are actually going to address a goddamn thing. And that's the most pathetic part, is that there's a real solution out there that we could all probably agree on if we weren't so divided. And that solution is Medicare for all, universal health care, and we can't get there. Democrats, as per usual, had an opportunity to offer something different to the American people, and instead they're just like, what if we just kept doing the same shit? And Republicans are like, what if we did the same shit but made it a little bit worse? And that's what we got. Really fucking cool. If you're a Republican and you're happy with your representatives today, you're an idiot. If you're a Democrat and you're happy with your representatives today, you're an idiot. And by the way, this is what Democrats negotiated. This is the big reward we got for avoiding taking the government shutdown and ending it. We promised that we'll vote on this. Both of these plans are going to be voted on in the Senate. Neither one of them is going to get the 60 votes that they need, and we're going to be stuck with absolutely fuck all. And the Democrats will campaign on Republicans won't do anything, and Republicans will campaign on Democrats don't do anything, and we'll all get fucked, and they'll just keep handing money off to the billionaire class. Yeah, I'm with you, William. Both these plans are dog shit. One, like the Democrats always, they can't ever just do something good. They're like, what if we take what the Republicans are doing and make a tiny tweak to make it slightly better, and then we'll just quit there. You want free market healthcare, but you realize universal is cheaper. Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with people who like free markets. I think we've talked about this before, but free markets work like if you're selling something where there's a cap on what people will pay. There's not really a cap on what people are willing to pay to stay alive. And so knowing that, people aren't going to choose not to pay for health care and instead just die. And the people that are providing insurance on the thing that they're insuring is a human life. And because there's no ascribed value to a human life, They basically are just always going to have you pay as much as they possibly can charge you before people stop buying it. That's not true like free market. That's not true competition. And by the way, it's like 5 companies. They've bought out all of their competition so that they could do this. And they buy out their competition using funds from investors, and those investors expect dividends or a return on their investment. So then after they buy out their competition, they have to raise the price. If they don't raise the price, their investors are going to be pissed. Donald Trump accurately pointed out that their stock prices went up 1,700%. Well, that's not their revenue has gone up 1,700%. It's their stock price. Part of that's speculation too. But they have to keep, and because that price has gone up 1,700%, if they start seeing lower profits, people will sell the stock and the stock will drop, and then they'll freak out. And the CEO, who makes all of his money in all these healthcare companies, the CEO's compensation is tied to the stock price. They mostly get paid in stock. So the CEO's only real goal is to make sure that the stock price keeps going up. And you got to do that by, you have to see the revenues going up, and you have to have a company that people are willing to invest in. And that's the only thing they care about. So they'll cut access for you. They'll cut what's covered. They'll cut out your ability to contact them through customer service and claims. They'll cut out everything before they'll cut out the dividends they have to pay to their investors. Yeah, your name's collateral on some ledger in a desk drawer. Exactly. I mean, this is something that is so, it should be so void of partisanship, and yet we can't have that. We just have to be divided on fucking everything. So congratulations, America, and our 2-party system. We got 2 dog shit ideas. Both of those dog shit ideas won't pass, and then you'll hear Chuck Schumer saying that Republicans don't care about you, and then Mike Johnson will say Democrats don't care about you, and we'll get nothing. And we'll argue about which ones care about us the most. Why exactly is MAGA against universal health care, which will help them? Because it's ideologically driven. They're against universal health care because universal health care is socialism. Socialism is the left. The Democrats are the left, communist, Marxist, socialist, radical, Islamic, jihadist, fascist, whatever they call us. It's too woke to do something that makes sense. Yeah, there you go, terminally, Sean Line. It's just too woke to do something that every other country has figured out, except for us. It would be more affordable. It'd be better outcomes. People would be healthier. But no. And then the Republicans will tell you they've carved out these provisions that are like, in our new system, it'll also drive down prices because no longer can you get access to this if you are here illegally, which already exists. So they're writing in parts of the legislation that already exist so that they can continue their lie that the reason healthcare is expensive is because who? Oh, immigrants. Always blame the immigrants. Do whatever you do, it's the immigrants or the Democrats' fault. Don't accept responsibility for anything. Don't be honest about why we have these problems. Just if you blame immigrants, that works for their base. Thanks, Big Beard. Appreciate that. So anyways, that's pretty cool. Before we get to Trump now hit the campaign trail. He had his soft launch yesterday, and boy, he has really ramped up the racism and bigotry. And I told you yesterday, Trump's going to go out and he's going to campaign for this whole year, and he's going to pretend he doesn't like it, but it's the only thing that he likes. And he's just going to replay the hits. He's going to go out and he's going to blame Democrats and Joe Biden for everything. He's not going to talk about anything that's happening right now. If he does talk about anything that's happening right now that's going poorly, he's just going to blame it on Joe Biden. But this time he's ramped up like the bigotry. He's ramped up the racist rhetoric. I actually think it didn't land very well yesterday. Maybe I'm too hopeful. I thought that the crowd that he talked to yesterday was shocked. I think that a lot of places he thought he was going to get big applause. He didn't get big applause. You could hear who was applauding, and it was men. And I'm going to guess those were white men. But I don't think it was met with as much excitement as he thought. Thanks, everybody, coming over from the Facts Raid. It's good to have you guys every morning. We love facts over here. B87GT said universal health care is socialism, but bailing out the farmers is what? Some sort of secret Santa program? Yeah, that's correct. It is Secret Santa. That's a it's it's not socialism if I like it. It's not socialism if we use that money to try and get people to keep voting for Donald Trump. Thanks, Christina, for joining the dollar train. I appreciate you over there. Ryan, also, thank you for joining the $5 train. Appreciate it. Reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded here. If you can help out, even $1, if everybody that was here sent $1, the gift goal will be wiped out already, and we wouldn't have to talk about it anymore. If you can help with that, that'd be greatly appreciated. If not, stay here, enjoy the program. This is for everybody. I want to show you, though, this video from Spencer Cox. He's the governor of Utah, Republican governor of Utah, who famously launched his campaign in Utah by doing a commercial with his Democratic opponent and saying, like, we're not going to have a dirty campaign here. Like, we can talk about ideas, but we're not going to do attack ads. And it was a really civil campaign, and I think it really brought the temperature down in Utah, if we're being honest. Spencer Cox is somebody who largely I'll disagree with, but I appreciate his calls for civility. Here he is with Josh Shapiro talking about Trump's attacks on Somalis.
While you all are trying hard to lower the temperature, lower the rhetoric, you have somebody with the biggest, loudest megaphone saying things like that in your party.
Yeah, sure. Look, I disagree with Congresswoman Omar. I think she should be voted out of office. And I think I can do that without attacking her religion or her race or her ethnic background. I think that's really important.
I'm not sure Republicans can do that, if we're being honest. What are the attacks on Ilhan Omar if it's not about her religion, who she is? Those are the only attacks I ever hear about her. I don't know if they are capable of doing that. I'll be interested to see what if anybody follows this advice, who can talk about Ilhan Omar without attacking her religion. But I like this message from Spencer Cox. She didn't. There's no evidence that she married her brother. That's just something that you're willing to believe because it's about a Democrat and a woman and a brown woman, maybe a Muslim woman. I don't know why. I don't know why you are willing to say something like she married her brother without evidence. But no, there's not. There's no evidence. You're just saying that. Give me the evidence then. You know, it's based on a Facebook post. I've tracked this down. I spent an hour and a half trying to figure out where this rumor came from. It's from a fucking Facebook post. But that's all you need. I did research. I bet I researched a lot more than any of you. Give me the source. While this is playing, somebody give me the source of where the evidence is that Ilhan Omar married her brother.
I know that the president disagrees with me. He and I have had these conversations.
It's about the constant criticism of the Constitution. That's another lie. Give me a quote of Ilhan Omar criticizing the Constitution. Now you're just saying shit that Donald Trump said. You guys are all fucking dumbass parrots. I swear to God. Find me the quote of her criticizing the Constitution. I'll wait for all of these. These things aren't happening. You just believe Donald Trump.
Or her race or her ethnic background. I think that's really important. I know that the president disagrees with me. He and I have had these conversations. I have to say, during the Charlie Kirk shooting, in the conversations we had, he talked to me about nonviolence.
But sometimes he is a good guy. I do have to put this out there. I can't criticize him without praising him in the same interview.
And trying to be a voice for that. I understand he's not interested in uniting the country, and he would tell you that, I think, if he were sitting here with us tonight. But I would also say that it's not.
She's also not Somalia first. That's another lie from a mistranslation. You guys are 0 for 3 on her attacks. Whoops.
Not going to be a president who fixes this. It's not going to be 2 governors who fix this. It really has to be all of us.
Yeah. Do you see how literally everything you say? I mean, if any of you had any courage, we could just come up and fact check all of this stuff. But I have fact checked every bit of this. The thing where she said she's Somali first, she was talking about a dispute between Somalia and I want to say Kenya. I might have the country mixed up. Somebody else can tell me. I know I fucked this one up last time. What other country she was referencing? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to side with my people over them. And then there was a mistranslation on a video because you're reading closed captions. And the mistranslation was that she just saying, I'm Somalia first and then American. And you guys all just ran with that. I'm lost if I say she's not Somalia first. Well, just give me evidence that she's Somalia first. Why are we having disputes of anything outside of our country? That's what we do, bud. That's what we do. What, we don't talk about other, like, aren't we, isn't your dude going to Venezuela right now? Or isn't he talking about Venezuela? He's talking about Somalia all the time. He's talking about Ukraine. He's talking about Russia. He's talking about Israel. He's talking about Sudan, Azerbaijan. Yeah. All right. Here was, I can't believe this guy is a Fox News host or a contributor, Planet Tyrus. This guy literally just like, he just screams at shit. But the Fox News people are coming to grips with the reality that their party is just a cult of Donald Trump and that nobody else gives a fuck about anything other than Donald Trump. The Republican Party is hating Democrats and loving Donald Trump, and then they stand for nothing. There's no policy. There's no principles. It's just Donald Trump and I hate the left.
Hate this.
Hate what?
I absolutely hate that the president has to leave the White House to go campaign for these Republicans. Republicans, step up. Why does daddy have to come save you? This is the problem. Trump comes in, the arena's sold out. Everyone's going crazy. Trump leaves 4 people, and 2 of them are the Republicans' family members. Republicans, you have to step up. You should want the endorsement, but you should be the one knocking on doors. You should be the one, maybe it won't be a gold escalator like the president went down.
He was a WWE. That's where he came from. I didn't know that. There's a W. Guys, you got to step up. It can't all be about Trump. All of our messaging's about Trump. Every fucking shirt that we sell is Trump. Every single Republican that steps in front of a camera talks about Trump. I can't believe that people don't want to rally when it's not Trump.
Go down yours. Get out there. Get on social media. Go to the White House. He has important things to do that he's doing. He's changing the world for a better place, and now he's got to go fly out and bail out all these Republicans. You have to start stepping up and doing your part. The president should not have to do this.
It's interesting.
What are you going to do when he's gone?
It does happen.
Hey,
Like,
JD,
the
stretch.
easiest
You
thing
get
to
in
do
there.
is to ask the president.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have built your entire movement around one guy. Maybe that's the problem.
Get in there. You wish, Jessica.
You wish.
I do.
Jessica.
I hope and pray.
Listen, the success in the Republican Party is as clear as Dana's little shoe box thing that makes her taller on TV.
It's not taller. It's that
So
my
our
feet
feet
don't
don't
reach the
dangle.
floor. My legs don't reach, so my feet don't. And I have to have a box so that I can touch the floor.
No, it's fine. It's cool. It's very
All right.
nice.
It's cool.
Guys, he's doing so good. It's so clear. I can't explain it. It's so clear. It's so clear that I don't need to explain why things are going so well. Jeff said, here's my $1 and $1 for 19 other cheap motherfuckers. By the way, I said these donations under friends and family, so I believe they should be tax-free. I appreciate that, Jeff. And you guys, too, can send them under friends and family if you decide to. Vicky, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. James said, keep the change, you filthy animal. And I definitely appreciate the Home Alone reference there. Juliet said, hey, RTP, could you please wish my hubby Mike a happy birthday and stay out of the cuck chair. Mike, get out of the chair and give Juliet the attention that she deserves. And happy birthday to you, Mike. Angela, thank you also for joining the Dollar Train. Illusion said, say sorry to Jazzy. I still prefer Jimmy. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's fine. We'll get to that here in a second. All right, let's look at what Trump did yesterday, though. How he's campaigning. He's back to the hits. And I told you he would do this because he's an idiot. And he thinks that these things are hits. He's back to telling you, shut the fuck up about affordability and just have less. Just have less. It's fine.
You can give up certain products. You can give up pencils. Because under the China policy, every child can get 37 pencils. They only need 1 or 2. They don't need that many. But you always need steel. You don't need 30.
No, the left is not a cult by the same standard. The left is a part, like the Democratic Party is a dysfunctional party with no leadership. It's a rudderless ship. A cult, by definition, wouldn't be a rudderless ship like you're saying where everybody eats each other. That's not a cult. That's dysfunction. A cult is when you unify around one person and your identity becomes that one person, and everything that one person says becomes law or becomes doctrine. That's why you're a cult and the Democrats are just like a bunch of dysfunctional infighters who can't find a leader. They're two very different things. Both shitty, but only one is a cult.
$7 for your daughter. 2 or 3 is nice.
Yeah, just get less,
you don't
guys.
Need $37. You can give.
Yeah, that's gonna work. Yeah. The thing is we all thought this wouldn't work, but nobody gives a fuck. Trump could just stand up there and say, "You guys, take off. Everybody, just take off your pants. No more pants. You guys don't. You don't need to afford pants. You can walk around naked." And they'd be like, "I love him so much. He must be right." That's such a weird thing for a politician to say, to get up there and be like, everything's going perfect. The economy is dominating. Also, if you can't afford more stuff, don't complain about it. Just buy less stuff. It's going really, really well. I think it's decent advice. It's good advice if you're struggling. If you're saying like, "Hey, I'm struggling with I'm struggling paying my bills," and you look at your bills and you're like, "Oh, maybe buying my daughter $37. I could have bought some food." That's good advice. But you can't have both. You can't have everything's going great, everybody's so rich, and also, hey, stop complaining, just buy less stuff. He just wants all you guys to never criticize him, and that's why it's a cult. Then we have this going after Ilhan Omar, and you guys are just pathetic. Your attacks on Ilhan Omar are so pathetic. And if you were just honest with yourself, she's a woman, she's Muslim. She doesn't dress the way that you want her to, and that's the only reason that you hate her. Because I've asked now of all of you what it is that we could criticize her for, and you all chose things that are made up. All of them. Those are all made up. At the very least, you can't prove any of those things, and yet that's why you've chosen to hate her.
From all over the world being dumped into our country, the people that aren't wanted in their countries, by the way. I think that's a great, like Somalia.
Gotcha, 23.
Welcome. Do we have any individuals from Somalia in the group? Please raise your hand. That's for Minnesota, you know. That's called the Great Big Minnesota Scam with one of the dumbest governors ever in history.
She's never said she hated America. You're lying too. Every one of you is full of shit. You are all. I don't even like saying this. It feels generic, but like honestly, it just feels like all of you are dumb. Feels like every time one of you guys opens your mouth to criticize somebody on the left, it just comes out dumb. You just say some dumb shit that you've heard somebody else say, and you say it with so much fucking confidence. Where's the links? Where are the links here? She doesn't hate America. In fact, I played clips the other day. She doesn't hate America. I played the clip of her saying she loves America. I'll give you a challenge. Show me one clip of her saying that she hates America.
I love this Ilhan Omar, whatever the hell her name is, with the little turban.
Oh, a turban. He doesn't even see what I mean. Like he's just being a bigot, doesn't know what anything's called, and all these people are laughing. Yeah, we're all as dumb as this chat is. We all believe the shit we saw on Facebook too.
I love her. She comes in, does nothing but bitch. She's always complaining.
This guy built his whole Donald Trump is the biggest bitch that's ever existed. He's president with Congress, both the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court. And every time he steps in front of a microphone, he just whines about shit. You guys, you can't be serious. You can't have the biggest complainer that has ever existed in this country and then be like, other people complain. It is literally all you do. You are all pathetically loyal to the whiniest bitch that this country has ever seen. Your entire ideology is complaining about shit. Yeah, like you have to hand out participation medals to this guy every time he goes somewhere. You are all crybaby bitches, and it's getting old having to sit here every day and go, is this not complaining? And you're like, no, it's not complaining, it's truth. If anybody criticizes us, then it's complaining. But when we cry about everything all fucking day, that's just truth. It's a real pathetic thing that like our country has become so full of whiny little bitches. It really is pathetic. You used to have politicians on your side that would say something. It's just nonstop complaining, and I have to cover it. So what am I going to do? So then I wind up with a show where I have to just like every fucking day be like, this guy's complaining again. This guy's lying again. Do you guys care? No, we don't care. We don't care one bit. We love him so very much. I'm like, all right, I guess we'll try again tomorrow. I would love to have a Republican who was your president, who I could talk about like his policy that made any sense. This guy, if we talk about trade policy, I get stuck trying to convince you guys that we pay tariffs because you don't even know that we pay tariffs. We can't have a conversation because you have all allowed yourselves to be fucking dumb just so that you can follow this guy. You all know that you all know Americans pay tariffs, and you won't say it because he won't say it. If you don't know, Google it, but you won't even fucking Google it. I can't get you guys to fact check anything because you're so afraid that your fact check will not agree with what Trump says. And so then you go, oh, the fact checkers are all biased too, so I don't do fact checking anymore. The assault that he put on media and convincing all of you that everybody who criticizes him is fake news was by design, and you all fell for it. And here you are, just sheeping along. Everything that is critical of Donald Trump is fake news. This man behind the microphone that I'm screaming at right now is fake news. He's asking us for sources for the claims that we're making, and we don't give him any sources. He is fake. We are real. It's honestly, like, it sucks. I know, I'm sure it gets more clicks, but it's not very fun for me. I would love to cover like a serious politician. I would love to cover somebody who makes sense. I would love to cover somebody who like isn't using his time on stage to just openly wholesale go after a group of people based on their identity. I would love that. And we used to have that. We've reversed, we've gone so far backwards that some of you, maybe you don't even know what happened to you. But there was a time not that long ago when this type of rhetoric coming from a Republican would be condemned by the majority of Republicans. And that no longer exists. You're allowed to say racist and bigoted things. You're allowed to be a sexist. In fact, it's a feature. I guess, I don't know if it was all an act from you guys before. You were all just pretending that like you weren't racist. But it changed. It changed dramatically. From the time I was a Republican till now, I can look back at what we did as Republicans and the stuff we advocated for, and I'm embarrassed about a lot of it. And a lot of it 100% was bigoted, but it wasn't like this. You know, I worked on the Romney campaign. Romney didn't go after Obama about being born in Kenya. He didn't go after Obama about Reverend Wright. He didn't call him Islamic fundamentalist. And either did John McCain. And there was one person behind both of them screaming, begging for them to lie about where Obama was born, to do the birth certificate shit. And it was this bloviated dumb fuck. Everywhere Mitt Romney went, Trump's plane was following him. Romney didn't even want him at the events, and Trump just followed him around, begging to get the attention that he couldn't get without like hitching his wagon to Mitt Romney. And then he found this group of people who loved what he was saying, and that group of people were dipshits. It was you guys. He's like, oh, there is a faction of dumbass Republicans who will literally believe anything. And if I say this to Fox News will play it because Fox News wants the clips. So then Fox News is like, we don't agree with Trump is saying, but here's what he's saying. And then you have Hannity and Tucker like mainlining this, like, let's see if his claims about Obama are true. And then they'd end like, I don't know. We can't completely rule out that what Trump is saying is untrue. Yeah, because you can't do that. Because when somebody makes up a lie about you, it's almost impossible to completely discredit it. But he just followed around all those people that you hated, and he begged for attention through the whole thing. And all the Republicans were like, no, we're not doing this shit, man. And then he just started picking off primaries. And you guys are the ones that changed the party. It wasn't even him. You guys saw something in him, in his racism, in his bigotry, in his obvious lies that you loved. And my contention is that what you saw in him, what attaches you to him, is that you don't have to learn stuff. You don't have to know stuff. You don't have to understand stuff. You can just call names. You can just attach yourself to any wild conspiracy that he throws out there and go on the internet and repeat it. The truth about most MAGA voters is you are lazy as fuck. You are a lazy group of people. Cat just crashed. That's weird. Oh, there it is. That's the truth about you. You're intellectually incurious and you're lazy. And the states that most of you come from and the communities that most of you live in are leech communities. Just statistically speaking. Most of you, wherever you live, you guys are getting money. You guys are taking in more money as a state and as a community than you put out. You are leeches. And instead of acknowledging that, hey, we are the ones that are benefiting from these other places that generate a lot more revenue, you go, I'd be richer if it wasn't for immigrants. Because that's a hell of a lot easier than addressing and acknowledging the fact that you are mediocre and that your states are mediocre because they don't invest in you. Your states, red states, say, you know what we're going to do for our people? We're going to cut taxes. And you're like, hooray, yay, they're cutting my taxes. But most of you don't pay taxes. Most of you fall below a line where you even pay any income tax. It's all, you get it all back. Most of you could be tax exempt on your W-2s all year and never have to pay anything back. So those tax cuts weren't actually for you. They were for the rich people in your state. And they lobbied your government to cut taxes. And then somehow they sold you on it. And we're like, you know what? We don't need to fund schools because the schools are woke. They're teaching the bad things. And you're like, okay, let's forego education. We need to lower the taxes. That's all of you. These people, these working class people in Pennsylvania now. They have no idea what they're advocating for right now. We need to defund your schools. Yay! We need to make it impossible for you to go to college. Yay! We can't raise the minimum wage. Yay! I saw a clip the other day and I checked it. It was from I think it was 1965. Give or take 10 years on that. If you took the wage I think it was 1970. In 1970, what it took to afford a house, and you compare that to today, do you know what your hourly rate would have to be to have the same buying power as somebody that, or just your hourly wage? Do you know what it would have to be to match the buying power of somebody on minimum wage in 1970? You want to guess? Let me make sure the math is here. Look at the year right here. It was like $66 an hour. I need to make sure this is, let me get 1970. Pull this up here. And these guys just go, we can't raise the minimum wage. And they've convinced working class people to be like, nobody deserves more than me. If you're working for minimum wage, you don't deserve it. Yeah, so to buy a house, it would have to be 66. The minimum wage would have to be, for 1970, would have to be $13.50 an hour would our minimum wage would need to be. Why would you guys be against minimum wage going to $13.50? Yeah, it is the Republicans' fault. Republicans are the ones who advocate. Like, what states have a higher minimum wage? Let's look at minimum wage by state. I think my state has 18. Washington, D.C., $17.95 minimum wage. California, $16.50. Or 20 if you work fast food. Connecticut, $16.35. Maryland, Massachusetts, Delaware, Rhode Island, Illinois, $15. New York, $16.50. They're all keeping up. And then the states at $7.25, Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, New Hampshire, North Carolina, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Wisconsin, Wyoming. Almost exclusively red states. And those red states are the ones that are like, we need to keep taxes low. Why don't they just force the rich people to pay you more? Wouldn't that bridge the gap? Why are you guys constantly fighting for less? As if they're, and this is what I was talking about with the like ideological capture. They're telling you that you don't deserve more than that. You're like, that's right. If you don't make it in this country, it's because you didn't work hard enough. I don't think you should have to like be dedicated to your career in order to make a living. I think it's perfectly fine for people to not really like their job that much, go to work 40 hours a week and pay their bill or their bills. And I think if you're dedicated to your work, I'm fine with you making more money. Why am I fighting for socialism? Well, I'm not necessarily fighting for socialism. But I am fighting for workers to own their own means of production. Why are you fighting for somebody else to own your production, Denny Glenn? Why do you want somebody else to own everything that you produce? When you go work in a factory, why do you want someone else to own that production? Why don't you get to share in the revenue there? Let's play this game. Let's go back. Like, why when I point out that you guys don't fight for yourselves, why don't you answer that question? Why don't you answer why red states are keeping the minimum wage at $7.25? Because you don't have a fucking answer, but you're so indoctrinated and your knee-jerk reaction is to left bad that you answer my question with a question. It is absolutely pathetic for a working class person to say, $7.25 is plenty. We should not raise the minimum wage. Look at all those states. Which states are, what do we call them? I don't know, donor states? The states that pay more into taxes. California, they pay a living wage. New York, they pay a living wage. New Jersey pays a living wage. Massachusetts pays a living wage. Connecticut pays a living wage. Washington pays a living wage. Illinois pays a living wage. So all of these states that send out more tax money, that are keeping your shit-ass states alive, they also pay a living wage. How is it possible that they pay higher wages, they pay more in taxes, they have more money, and they subsidize your state, but raising the minimum wage would fuck you? It doesn't make sense. You're just dumb, and they're just lying. Rich people are convincing dumb people that if we raise minimum wage, somehow you'll have less money. But the facts bear it out that if you raise minimum wage, it raises everybody else. And yet no, I've learned. My dad said, my mom said, Donald Trump said, I believe. I worked hard for my money. Everybody works hard. Everybody that works hard for their money. I don't know why, like, the average CEO needs to make 800 times what their worker does. It's nonsense. Stop fighting for a bad system that fucks you over. You're not tough. It doesn't make you cool. You're not going to lose your man card because you advocate for a more fair system. You're not a pussy for advocating for fair wages. You're a cuck for not doing it. Oh yeah, I'm not like that. I believe we get. I don't have any problem with somebody having $1 billion. Fine. I don't have a problem with anybody having $1 billion either. But I do have a problem with somebody having $1 billion while other people who work full time can't afford to live. Well, they should get a different job. What other job? What they wouldn't get a different job if they couldn't get a different job? Then who's going to fill that job? Then that person can't afford to live. Why does free market capitalism not work in your states? Why are all your states such fucking shitholes? While this guy openly talks about, look at all these shithole countries with no money. A guy that made all of his money in New York, that was handed down money from his daddy. It worked for him. Why didn't New York break him? Why did he get so rich? Problem is the people in New York don't like him. So he's like, fuck, how am I going to run for president? Oh, I know. I'll go to the dumb states. I'll go to the ones who don't understand economics. I'll go to the ones who believe Facebook memes over statistics all day long. Republicans fighting for mediocrity is a tale as old as time. As long as I've been alive, rich Republicans have been convincing poor Republicans that they should fight for the system that overwhelmingly benefits the rich, and you guys are still just doing it. And now they don't even have to say it to you because they have you so distracted with Ilhan Omar marrying her brother, which isn't true, or Ilhan Omar being a threat to this country, which isn't true. They have you so distracted by a fraud case in Minnesota, or Tim Walz putting tampons in a bathroom, or trans people existing, or a girl in Oklahoma who wrote a shitty fucking paper where she didn't even cite correctly the Bible. She used the Bible, didn't even cite it. They have you thinking about everything but this. You're so goddamn distracted that you don't realize that Trump is just handing off all the wealth to the billionaires. But he says the racist stuff that you like, so you're like, oh, I'll just be distracted with that.
It's nothing but bitch. She's always complaining.
Let's see if he complains now.
She comes from a country where, it's considered about the worst country in the world, right? They have no military, they have no nothing.
Why? Why don't they have a military? Why are they so poor? Why are they so divided? It couldn't have been the decades of Western countries and Russia invading them and decapitating their leadership and trying to use their country, right? Couldn't possibly be that. Couldn't be because of decades of broken promises by these countries who come in and say that they're going to help and then just steal their resources. The reason that we have Somalis here in this country is because it was so fucked, and in a response to what Russia did to them, we said, all right, Somalis, come here to the United States. So you take a country who has no money, who has a poor education system, a poor nutrition, and you bring them to America, and you're like, why don't you know all the same stuff we know? Why is it taking you so long to catch up? Oh, I wonder. Well, I wonder. And so now, just 30 years later, like Republicans always do, well, I told you this is the cycle. At the end of Trump, Republicans will pretend, again, that they are compassionate, and they'll talk about doing things for immigrants. They'll talk about making sure that people from around the world who face atrocities have somewhere in America that they can call home, and we'll take care of them. And Republicans and Democrats will kind of unite around that for about 30 years, and then some fascist racist dude will show up and convince a bunch of Republicans again that the immigrants were the problem, and then we'll do this shit again, and you guys and all your friends will be racist again for a while, and then that'll go away, and you'll go back to pretending that you're not a bunch of bigots. This cycle repeats over and over and over and over and over again. We've seen it a million times. But you don't see it. You can't accept that, this is what you are. Your party is nothing. It stands for nothing. You get nothing done. You are responsible for more than 60% of our national debt with just two presidents, this dumb motherfucker and the dumb motherfucker before him in Bush. And why did we get into debt? Oh, because we tried to go to war over immigrants or domestic threats. And these were wars that were really actually about oil. And we lied and we said it was about mass destruction. And then we get all this debt. He's literally replaying Bush. Just like Bush, but who would have guessed? If somebody would have told you in the 2000s The next Republican president you get is going to be like Bush, but he'll be less coherent. Like he won't be able to he won't be as eloquent as George Bush. He'd be like, no fucking way. And here we are. Just the dumber version of George Bush with the same pattern. A bunch of insiders, a bunch of military industrial complex people, a bunch of bankers, a bunch of Wall Street people, a bunch of oil executives making up his entire cabinet and making all the decisions while they blow smoke up his ass and tell him, oh, sir, it's you. You are the one making all of these decisions. It's so fucking incredible. Look at you, bud. Give him a little tap on the bum. And he's like, yeah, it is me. That's right. It is me that's doing all of this, isn't it? And it's not. It's just the puppeteers. Like, this guy's not in charge. You guys just think he is. How many more times do we have to play this fucking game? And now let's get back to him complaining about a single congresswoman and a single element of fraud that happened in Minnesota that doesn't even, like, he has pardoned more fraud in this term than all of the fraud combined in Minnesota. He's pardoned more fraud than this. But we're supposed to believe it's about fraud, right?
No parliament. They don't know what the hell the word parliament means. They have nothing. They have no police. They police themselves. They kill each other all the time. I love it. She comes to our country, and she's always complaining about the Constitution allows me to do this. We ought to get her.
Is that a complaint? The Constitution allows me to speak? Is that your guys' criticism of Ilhan Omar? That she points out that the Constitution allows her the freedom of speech? We got to get her the hell out of here. She's citing the Constitution. We can't have people in this country citing the Constitution. What would we do with that? That's a real criticism your dipshit president just made.
About the Constitution allows me to do this.
Yeah. Oh. That's what you're afraid of? People talking about what the Constitution allows? I thought she complained about the Constitution. Make up your mind, Trump. Earlier you said she complained about it, which she doesn't. Now you're saying she is correctly citing it, and that's what you guys are mad about? You just don't like her because of what she looks like. One of you guys reach down and grab your nuts and be honest about it. Well, one of you. Have some fucking courage. You can't cite one thing you dislike about her. Now we're citing that she correctly identifies freedom of speech? Oh, no, what a terror.
We ought to get her the hell out. She married her brother.
Lie. That's a lie. Nobody cares.
In order to get in, right? She married her brother. Can you imagine if Donald Trump married his sister? Beautiful. She's a beautiful person. If I married my sister to get my citizenship, do you think...
Isn't that why you married your wife? You know that wife that fucking hates you? The one that nobody ever sees, that doesn't want to hold your hand, that's repulsed every time you touch her? What was her deal? She came over here on a Einstein visa? She lied? You pulled some strings? You and Jeffrey Epstein pulled strings to bring her over here? And wasn't she dating Jeffrey Epstein first? Didn't Epstein get her over? He brought her over, also got first dibs. They lied, put her on an Einstein visa. Which one of those two people is there evidence that their spouse lied? No evidence on Ilhan Omar. There's no evidence that her spouse, one, lied, or two, that was her brother. None. No evidence. In fact, all the evidence says the contrary. This guy actually married somebody who was here illegally and used our system to give himself a mail-order bride who hates his fucking guts. No, that can't be true. It can't be. Why don't you hate her? How come none of you hate Melania? She came over on a phony visa, got married, had an anchor baby. None of you hate her. Couldn't be is what she looks like, right? That couldn't be it.
I'd last for about 2 hours, or would it be something less than that? She married her brother to get in. Therefore, she's here illegally. She should get the hell out. Throw her the hell out. She does nothing but complain.
I agree. Whoever said that. we don't. Democrats and Republicans don't hate the same way. I hate racists. I hate bigots. Republicans hate immigrants, brown people, Muslim people, people who don't vote for Trump. If you're a Republican, I don't hate you unless, like, I'm going to really hate it if you're racist, though. We're going to have a chat about that. Yeah. Send her back. Amy said Ilhan Omar got her citizenship at 17, from what I just read, married years later. I don't think the claim is that she got married for her citizenship. I think the claim is that she married somebody else so that they could get citizenship. And honestly, like, where that could be she was married to a guy for a very short period of time. I think it did get him citizenship. It's not his brother, though. I don't know. If they want to investigate that, they can investigate that. But if you want to investigate that and you don't want to investigate Donald Trump, then what's left for me to assume other than this is about race? Stick, I'm not a woman, but sometimes your dad has me put on a wig. Calls me ma'am. Pays extra for that, though. The more I see you, Stick, the more I realize you're a coward because you're here every day and you don't want to come up and talk about it. Proud Atheist says hate first, find a reason later. Yeah, true. Amy Lynn said 72% of the adults on welfare work full time. Don't blame workers. We're subsidizing companies to make record profits. Wake up, maggots. Sad Renee said good news in Miami. That's true. Miami mayor won by, I think, about 20 points. Basically won every part of Miami except for the heavily Cuban areas. When I think it was a Cuban nominee she was running against. I don't remember their name. Amy said add the names the states with highest poverty and government dependency, same list. Yeah, it's Republican states. It's all you leech states. I'm so tired of Republicans talking about handouts. Your states get handouts and you advocate for handouts for billionaires. Maddie said if the world had only one religion, it would be a nightmare. We should just get rid of religion, I think. All right. This super fam said we should watch Matawan. We should watch Matawan One Watch Party Night. I don't even know what that is. Matawan? Melva said, thank you for the truth. Oh, that's from Lovely. Thank you very much. Vicky, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. Listen here. Brianna said, a haiku for Bree, the sexy queen of my dreams. I submit. Breed me. All right. Jeff said this 20 is for your sweet little girl. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. She is sweet. She was an absolute monster yesterday. Chris, thanks for joining the $5 train. Captain said just to annoy the maggots. Appreciate that. All right, let's get going. I'm going to jump ahead of this. I want to talk about Jasmine Crockett. So, one, I don't remember who it was who said, somebody in the chat yesterday, I wish I would have saved the name, said they were disappointed in me because of what I said about Jasmine Crockett. That was it's fair. And I reached out to some people this morning, and I think that what I said about Jasmine Crockett was unfair, and I think I was also wrong about one thing with James Talarico. So I just want to set the record straight on Jasmine Crockett and James Talarico. So when we're my big criticism of Jasmine Crockett has been her stance when it comes to Israel, and I have a hard time siding with somebody with her record, and I'll actually stand by that, but I'll give you the sources of why I stand by that. There is, however, some fair criticism for James Talarico. He took $59,000 from the Texas Sands PAC through donations in February and December of 2024. That makes the group both his biggest donor and one of his largest since he ran for the state legislature in 2018. This is a fund that is largely supported by Miriam Adelson and the late Sheldon Adelson, who, of course, are massive Zionist donors. From what they're saying, Talarico said that the state representative pushed for campaign finance reform, but he will not unilaterally disarm and let Texas Republicans play by different rules. So he was going to keep taking PAC money. He said Talarico believes our campaign finance system is deeply broken. That's why he filed legislation to cap campaign contribution limits in the state of Texas. I don't have a problem with any candidate who is saying that. Like you have to take money, and if you're going to be kneecapped by not taking that money, then you may need to. But be careful who you take that money from. So that's a fair criticism of Talarico. However, Talarico has also said that he supports. He has consistently called for a ceasefire in Gaza. He has consistently called for the United States to stop funding arms in Israel, and he has said that he would refuse to meet with Netanyahu unless there was a ceasefire and a two-state solution. So there's Talarico. And by the way, fuck the Adelsons for ruining the Dallas Mavericks, who used to be my favorite team, and then they fucked that all up. So let's talk about Jasmine Crockett, because I think her record on Israel is mixed. And I'm trying to do this in chronological order. So let's start with right after October 7th. On October 10th, she put out this statement. She said, "This weekend I conveyed my prayers and steadfast support for the people of Israel and the Jewish community. As new reports continue to come in, I remain horrified by the atrocities being committed against Israeli civilians by the Hamas terrorist group. There's no moral justification for the heinous acts that have surfaced in the past 72 hours. Entire families taken hostage, women raped and humiliated in the streets, infants murdered in act of cruelty that defy comprehension." Sorry, I forgot we were on TikTok for a second. "We cannot look away from what is happening, and we cannot equivocate in our support for our allies in Israel as they work to free their hostages and protect their people. To be clear, directly targeting civilians is a war crime. It is civilians, Israeli and Palestinian, that are and will continue to be caught in this crossfire of this rapidly escalating violence. The only groups who benefit are Hamas and its backers and allies in Tehran and Moscow. Now more than ever, we need clear-eyed leadership in Congress to erect a united front against the enemies of democracy and humanity. In the absence of a speaker, I will continue to work with Minority Leader Jeffries and my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to help end the murders of civilians, get Americans home safely, and find a peaceful resolution to this crisis as soon as possible." I think that is, at least for me, that's an acceptable response on October 10th. It's a few days later. I would have held virtually the identical opinion, though if looking at this statement in hindsight, I could certainly pick it apart. However, knowing that was on October 10th, I think that's probably where most of us stood. I think that there's some who didn't stand there, but it would be pretty hypocritical of me to criticize that statement, knowing where I was on October 10th as well. So not a huge problem there. Let's see. I'll skip that one. Just one thing that was funny. I was trying to find some sources using Perplexity, and I wanted some clips, and AI gave me a clip of Rashida Tlaib saying it was Jasmine Crockett. Here are the votes that are going to come up for a question. The first thing is she voted in favor of HR Resolution 771. It's short. It's basically a condemnation. This was on October 25th. It talks about the attack by Hamas. But let me show you a couple things where I feel like maybe the criticism might be warranted. After October 7th, we added some things in here that I don't think necessarily should have been added. In ways that I think would compare to how we responded to 9/11. Whereas Hamas is a United States designated foreign terrorist organization, whereas Iran has long provided support to Hamas and other terrorist groups and proxies. And prior United States government unclassified assessments indicate that Iran has historically provided up to $100 million annually in combined support to Palestinian groups, including Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine General Command. I hate this. This was an obvious way to try and loop in Iran. It also admits the fact that those groups were also funded by Israel. So I didn't like that. Whereas Hamas has used rudimentary civilian equipment such as bulldozers, paragliders, rubber boats, and installed on Israel, demonstrating the importance of fully enforcing tight controls on what materials go into the Gaza Strip, including through thorough vetting of assistance. I didn't like this. I think this set the stage where we overreacted to what had happened and allowed and, in fact, advocated for any sort of assistance to basically be vetted through Israel, which was a massive, massive mistake. Whereas the 2016 U.S.-Israel Memorandum of Understanding, the U.S. pledged to provide Israel $3.3 billion per year in foreign military financing and $500 million per year in missile defense for 10 years, which Congress approved annually. Whereas Section 1273 authorized not less than $3.3 billion, yada yada yada. So I have some issues there. I also have issues here that that is resolved. The House of Representatives stands with Israel as it defends itself against the barbaric war launched by H Group and other terrorists. There was no caveat there. I don't think that saying we're just going to stand with Israel, especially at this point, it's October 25th. At this point, like, Israel has killed multiple people who were not part of the conflict. We condemn H group's brutal war against Israel, calls on all countries to unequivocally condemn Hamas's brutal war against Israel, calls on Hamas to immediately cease these violent attacks. No comments on Israel. Mourns over 900 Israelis and 11 Americans killed and over 2,600 others wounded in the attack. No mention of the people that have been harmed in the Gaza Strip. Reaffirms the United States' commitment to Israel's security. Urges full enforcement of the Taylor Force Act and other restrictions. Condemns Iran. Urges enforcement for the sanctions against Iran. Again, this is just unrelated. This is just like attacks on Iran. So she signed this. You can look at the roll call vote. She signed on to this. There were only 9 nays, but if we look at the nays here, they are the people who have been consistently on the right side of history when it came to Israel and Palestine. Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Andre Carson, Al Green, Summer Lee, Thomas Massey, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Delia Ramirez, Rashida Tlaib. So I think that if she's going to be criticized for that, she probably needs to say whether or not she still stands by that. If she says she no longer stands by that, I think that's acceptable. I think it's okay for people to change their mind. The second one was HR 8034 here. HR 8034. The parts that are important here is supplying ammunition to Israel here with $800 million. $4 billion providing the government of Israel for procurement of the Iron Dome and David Sling's defense systems to counter short-range rocket threats. This is all defense. Somebody mentioned that Jolly put a video up talking about this. This is defense. This is defensive spending. So depending on where you stand here, personally, it's not the defense spending that I have like a huge problem with. I don't really have a problem with, and now I do, but at the time, I don't think I would have had a problem with saying we'll continue to give them money for defense spending. Now I don't think they deserve a single cent because it's obvious. She refused to co-sponsor Cori Bush's bill, calling for an immediate ceasefire, which was a little bit frustrating. You can see the co-sponsors here. It's the people we expect: Rashida Tlaib, Andre Carson, Summer Lee, Delia Ramirez, Jamal Bowman, Bonnie Watson-Coleman, Jesus Garcia, Jonathan Jackson, AOC, Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Nydia Velasquez, Barbara Lee, Pramila Jayapal, Greg Kazar, Alma Adams, Maxwell Frost, and Hank Johnson. So she's missing there. I would have liked to see her signature there. She, at the end of the Biden administration, towards the end, there was a ceasefire agreement that she celebrated that Trump wound up sabotaging. I like that she did that. So I think as time went on, she became more clear on her support for the Palestinians. A lot of people are sharing this tweet from her. This is she says, as the sun sets on the 5th day of the month of Iyar, Yom, I don't even know how to say that, Hatzmat, or Israeli Independence Day comes to a close on the 75th birthday of Israel. Let's continue to dedicate ourselves to peace and prosperity. Here's to the next 75. But if you look at the date there, that was before October 7th. So to me, that's forgivable and not that important. And then she voted yes on H-Res 798, which condemned the support of Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terrorist organizations and institutions of higher education. I actually do have a problem with this. I think she should have known better here. This was in November of 2023. But this was basically the silencing of pro-Palestinian protest on college campuses. And it was very vague, and it was very... we have to silence any pro-Palestinian protest at all because it's not fair to Jewish students. And again, if we look at the roll call vote here, it's kind of the same people every single time. So the no's on this are, I mean, a lot of those same Democrats. We don't have to read through all of them. I don't know if Thomas Massey again on the right side of history there. Even Maxine Waters has been added. Richie Torres, who I really liked. Jonathan Jackson. Anybody else that's new to this list? Earl Blumenauer. She's just not on that. So that being said, she's also pledged not to take AIPAC money, and she has never taken AIPAC money. She did take a trip that was funded by an Israeli group. I'm trying to remember. I wrote this in a message. Let me remember who it is. Trying to remember the name of the Israeli group. But again, before October 7th, I don't have a problem with somebody saying that they will not vote for her because of her mixed record on Israel. However, I think that I was probably unfair on her record with her record on Israel yesterday. So I just wanted to make that clear. One other thing that I was unaware of. James Talarico does not support Medicare for all. It's not his. I think he would support it if it came to a vote, but he wants a different system, and Jasmine Crockett does support Medicare for all. So I do think that this decision for those who are voting in Texas is more nuanced, and I don't think that you can have a bad answer there. I don't think that either one of those would be bad candidates, but I wanted to add I just wanted to add some context and do a little bit more research. It is much harder to find a record for Talarico on Israel because he's been in the state legislature, so it's not really an issue that he's addressed that much. That's what I'm saying, Eve. He doesn't have a voting record because he's been in the state legislature. So there's not going to be really any voting record on Israel because those are national concerns. So that's going to be Congress and the Senate, like national races. So he doesn't really have much of a record there. So there we go. So do what you want with that. I would change my mind a little bit on Jasmine. I'll be interested to see how this campaign shakes out. I would like to see her make Medicare for all a central campaign message. I would like to see I think that she gets bad advice. I think that Democrats are just cowards, and so are the people that advise them. And they think that the way that you win in a red state is to run as a moderate. And sometimes that works, but I think they incorrectly identify what moderate issues are. I don't think that Medicare for all is a moderate issue. I think that you can run on that if you're a Republican or a Democrat, and it'll be very, very popular. If I were to see Jasmine Crockett making Medicare for all a central role in her campaign and Talarico not do that, I would probably switch my support to Jasmine Crockett. So we'll see what she rolls out. But I think both of them are really, really strong candidates. And I was really disappointed in Talarico when I saw that he wasn't supporting Medicare for all. I didn't like that at all. So hopefully that helps. I'm sure there's stuff that I'm missing, but I wanted to set the record straight there. And I owe Jasmine Crockett an apology for, I think I was too harsh on her yesterday. And I didn't fully understand her record. It's more mixed than I thought it was. And I think that when you lay it out with the timeline, the more information she got, I think the better her opinions got. So there we go. How much Soros money do you get per month? So much, Stick. How many times are you going to use the same joke that everybody's been using for the last like 12 years? You guys, are you just going to borrow everybody else's joke? How many times do we catch Stick using somebody else's jokes? You got to be more original, bud. Obamacare's garbage. I pay over $20K a year with $9K deductions for a family. That's not Obamacare. Like, this is the thing that you don't understand. That's not Obamacare. That's private health insurance. Republicans, I don't know how to explain this to you. There's a video going around where they're like asking Republicans if they prefer Obamacare or the ACA. And because the ACA says Affordable Care Act, they just say, I like the Affordable Care Act, even though it is the same thing. The money that you're paying isn't going to Obamacare. Obamacare is a marketplace. That's it. They don't set the price. This is what I mean about, like, this is why Republicans love you guys in red states, because you're dumb. You're paying a private health insurance company for your insurance, and you're blaming Barack Obama. That is really fucking dumb. I also don't like Obamacare. I don't like the Affordable Care Act. I think Medicare for all would be much better. But the Affordable Care Act is better than what we had before, and every bit of data shows that. When you started to see the skyrocketing prices, from health insurance, it's after Republicans gutted the Affordable Care Act. So isn't that crazy? They go in and they gut provisions that allow these insurance providers to charge way more, and then the prices go up, and then they blame Democrats, and they're like, it doesn't matter because the people who vote for us are so fucking stupid. If we just say Obamacare, they're going to blame Obama. They don't read. They don't know anything. They don't understand what any of this is. They're so goddamn dumb that all we have to do, we can break the system, give all our donors millions of dollars, help these insurance companies make even more money, and we can just say Obama, and they're so stupid, they'll buy it, and they'll keep voting for us, and they'll be angry at Obama for the thing that we did. That's how they view you. They view you as stupid, and you're doing absolutely nothing to make it possible for them to view you any other way. Because you just keep opening up that mouth and taking in the regurgitated talking points that are so easily debunked that it's getting pathetic. I'm starting to look at you guys as like, I'm concerned. I'm concerned on like, do your brains function at all? Or is this just all like programming? Are you just on autopilot all the time? Everything you say is just something all of us have heard a million fucking times, and it's not true. And if you spent any time like researching, you would find out that it's not true. I think that it might be the thing that Republicans are most afraid of is research and data. I've said this before, and I'll offer again to anybody, you're welcome to come up here and talk to me about this. Everything you believe is a lie, or at the very least unproven. There is nothing that any of you believe that ties to your party that is based in reality. It is all lies or stories based on incomplete or not real data. I'll stand by that. I'll challenge any of you. Come up and tell me one thing that your party stands for, or that your party advocates for, that is based in fact. I don't think any of you can do that. And do you recognize at all how easy that should be? To say, come up here and tell me one factual thing that your party believes in. That should be a slam dunk. And I can't get one of you to bite on that ever. And I think that the reason you don't take that challenge is because you know it too. It's just you might lose your friends if you start telling the truth. Model 1's a movie about coal workers and unions. Okay. That's a good idea. Is it a documentary? Is it like a movie? Okay, I'll update that. Thank you, Jen. Let me update this Go real quick. I've done that. Perfect. Movie? Okay, who's in it? Hey, guys, the Republicans don't want to answer my question, but now they're going to ask questions about how many genders there are. I don't know. How many genders are there, bud? You can come up here. Come up here and prove to me that there's only two genders. Just, there you go. There's your opportunity. Come up here and prove that there are only two genders. I'm going to need some sources and some data to prove that there's two genders.
Well, in the Bible, you see, it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Eve and Matilda, the gender-neutral alternate. Come up, provide your data. You're the one making the claims, right? I don't know how many genders there are. I don't care. There can be as many as we want, though. I do know that. I do know that if we decide that there's 3, then there's 3. I do know that if we decide there's 5, then there's 5. I do know that if we decide there's 7, there's 7. You know how I know that? Because we decided there were 2 at some point. We just made that decision, so we can change that. It's just a word. We just made up the word. We made up the definition. We decided there were 2. We made it up. So you guys, that's what conservatism is. I don't want change, though. Things can't change. You would have been the same people that are like, yeah, right. You really think that we revolve around the sun? The sun revolves around us, idiot. That would have been you. New data. Typical liberal bullshit. Change. It's been accepted since the beginning of time that the sun revolved around the earth. Then like years later, you'd be like, oh, no, I always believed that. You guys are wrong. Conservatives have literally never been right. You are wrong always. It's a crazy thing. It's a crazy
like anomaly that conservatives are always wrong. It's amazing. You're on the wrong side of history every single time. Let's talk about who the conservatives are in American history. The very beginning of this country, the conservatives said,
We really should listen to the crowd.
the conservatives said,
Let's not dump that tea in the harbor there.
the conservatives said,
We don't need a Declaration of Independence.
the conservatives said,
Let's not go to war.
the conservatives said, let's keep slavery. The conservatives said, let's not let black people count as a vote, maybe just like part of a vote. The conservatives said, why do we have to share drinking fountains with black people? The conservatives said, we don't want women to vote. The conservatives said, she must be a witch. Let's burn her at the stake. The conservatives said, yeah, let's go to Vietnam. The conservatives said, let's go to Iraq. The conservatives said, let's go over to Afghanistan. You guys have done nothing but be consistently wrong throughout our history, and yet somehow conservatives still exist. It's fear. Conservatism and fear are synonyms. You're afraid of change. You don't like that you have to evolve and learn new things. Heaven forbid, humans evolve. That's what we do. We have always evolved. And along the way, there has always been the enemy of evolution being conservatism. You guys were the ones that were like, freedom of religion? No. What is this Protestantism? Who are these reformers? It should just be one church. Atheist? You can't be an atheist. It's you. You're always fucking wrong. How is that possible? How is it possible that you can look back on history where conservatives are always wrong, except for this time? This is the time that we're right. You can all look back at history and acknowledge that conservatives are wrong about literally everything and still be convinced with 100% strikeout ratio. 100%. Your batting average is fucking 0. And you're like, except for now, we finally figured it out. We have evolved the perfect amount, and now we must stop evolving. No more change. No more new thought. No more science. But that's what your grandparents said. That's what your great-grandparents said. That's what your great-great-grandparents said. You come from a line, if your family's been conservative forever, you're coming from a line of people who are consistently fucking wrong, which is why your states are consistently fucking shitty. Because we're going to keep trying the same shit that doesn't work all the time. And if it doesn't work, we'll blame the libs. I don't like that. I don't like your ideology. It's lazy and it's stupid. Here's a good example. Here's Joni Ernst. This is what Joni Ernst is trying to sell the people of Iowa. Shout out Iowa. If you vote for this idiot, I don't know what to tell you. Guys, none of this is working, but it will this time.
Affordability is important, and the president continues to stress that, not just with his message of optimism, but in the work that he is doing through the administration. So I feel very confident we're going to see the president out and about. We are going to bring those prices down for our consumers. And again, we will see victory when it comes to the election cycles next year.
That will not happen. And you can only say that as a Republican because your base are all fucking morons. Prices will not come down. Prices never do come down. Prices don't come down in America. Prices go up in America because we have an economy that relies on 2 to 3% inflation. So prices will not come down, and none of you will fucking care that your whole party's out saying we brought down prices, which you didn't, and that you will continue to bring down prices, which you never will, and then you'll keep voting Republican, and then the next election, they'll promise you that they'll bring down prices, which won't happen, and you'll still think that they did, because you'll be like, well, the last time Trump was president, prices were cheaper, not realizing that every president who is currently in office, their predecessor had cheaper prices. No, Kenneth, prices are not down. Prices are not down almost anywhere. There are sometimes outliers of certain things where prices go down and go back up. But let's see, what was the average price of eggs by month? Let's look. What do you want me to look at? Choose anything. I'm going to teach you guys how to do research. Here's the price of eggs. Down from there, down from that 1 month that we had where there was like a shortage. And now you're back to about average. Is it down? It's down from here. Which who was president right then, by the way? Who was president in March of 2025? Trump. No, it's not down. This is down. Over here is down. This is up. Up, down. Up, down. Up, down. Prices don't go down. Our economy is not meant for prices to go down. No. Prices go up and down, but overall go up. My claim is during presidencies, right? So do we have lower prices now than we had during the Biden presidency? No, we had lower prices during the Biden presidency. Did Biden have lower prices than the Trump presidency? No, Trump had lower prices. Did Trump have lower prices than the Obama presidency? No, Obama did. You don't understand data. That's the point. The price will not be less. They're telling you that the prices will come down. Let's look at gas prices. What prices are cheaper under Trump? Which ones? Eggs weren't. Let's look at gas. All right, where are we with gas? Gosh, do I have this? There we go. Where did that go? All right. So we are at, in 2025 in November, gas was $3.05. Let's go back to the to last year. About the same. Let's go back to Trump, $2.50. Let's go back to the end of Obama, $2.18. Let's go back into Bush, $1.49. See how the prices are meant to always go up? See how that works? They always go up. Now you have fluctuations. You can, like, if you look at 2021 and 2022 when you had global supply problems, you see they rose much quicker. Used car price. All right, let's look at used car prices. Whoops. They're down from what? From February of 2022? During the middle of when we had COVID? When the supply was like when people stopped manufacturing cars. So if you don't have new cars in the market, you have less cars. So there's there's less used cars available. So the price goes up. And then when the market corrects, it's down. But overall, it's up. See? See how this works? Every time. Well, used car prices, they can go down when people are poor, but this is more everybody shut down manufacturing. So if you're not putting new cars out there, the value of this is supply and demand, the value of a used car goes up. And when did that peak? January 2022, February. And then what do we see? As the pandemic goes away, look what happens. No, but this must just be Joe Biden. Oh, Lucifer, I got you. You're saying words that get caught by the auto mod. We don't let you say stuff that gets my channel taken down. Nobody's muting you. You're saying shit that isn't allowed to be said here, so that we keep our channel up. It went down. You guys, like, this is what I'm saying. When I say they're too stupid, this is exactly what I mean. We show them a chart. The prices always go up. And they're like, but what about that little part? Well, what about this little part? What happened here? Why do you think prices went down right here? Oh, What happened there? Yeah, they go up and down, but overall they go up.
But I see it down. Look, it's down. Trump good. Yay!
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Somebody said, like, blue cities are the problem. They pay all your fucking bills. I don't understand how you guys, like, you worship billionaires, but then you hate rich cities.
The billionaires deserve all that money. Rich cities don't deserve all that money. They should give their money to us.
And then you take all this money from blue cities. Stop taking money from the federal government, red states. Which state? Do you know which states take in the most money from the federal government? You know? You know? Net. Sorry, net. Not, if we say most, then it's going to be the populated one. Are you going to be surprised when I show that it's all red states? Louisiana, Mississippi, Alaska, West Virginia, New Mexico. Guys, Stick wants you to know that we're only at 156 lights now. So this isn't going well for Stick, so now he's going to do personal attacks. Stick, I don't know if you know this. Like, I don't give like a single solitary fuck about that. But I bet the likes go up now just because you said that. So I appreciate that. All right, let's move on with this. Yeah, line. This is what Republicans are fighting for by not changing our system. Check out this video. This is our healthcare system in America.
So I just got my hospital bill in the mail, and before I had a baby, I always wondered how much it costs to have a baby here in the U.S. I have pretty good health insurance, but this is the breakdown of my hospital bill. So the first thing was the room where I stayed at.
Explain that to me, please. This is what happens when you allow private equity into hospitals. Private equity hospitals also shouldn't exist. $17,000 to lay in a bed. The most expensive part of her hospital bill is going to be laying in a bed. And why is that? Because there's private equity money. That's where they make all their money. $17,000. I don't think there's a hotel here that you could pay $17,000 for 2 nights.
After delivery, and that was $17,760. Pharmacy.
It'll show the total in a minute.
Medical surgical supplies, $1,323.
I can't zoom in, guys. Sorry.
Sterile
She's
supplies,
saying it.
$2,437. Sterile supply, $50. Lab work, $1,484. Immunology, $450. Hematology, $1,098. Anesthesia, $615 for that nice epidural. Drugs required, $59. Delivery room, $20,395 for a whopping total. Oh wait, no, I missed it. I don't even know what the heck this is. $5,657, and then for a whopping total of $51,383.
She was in the hospital to have a baby, Larry. She had a baby. So out of the $51,383, $38,000 of that was just being there. The actual medical care was the rest. But $38,000 of that is just being there. I can't believe people aren't having children. What in the world? Why aren't people in America having children? I have an idea. Let's make their health care completely unaffordable. Maybe we should raise their deductibles. Anything but doing what makes the most sense for Republicans. I'm so fucking tired of you guys fucking everything up. What if we cut a deal with Republicans that will keep paying their bills, but they have to shut the fuck up? No more Republicans talking. You guys stay in your states. We'll keep giving you the welfare. We'll keep paying all your bills. But you got to shut the fuck up for a while we fix this stuff. The Republican solution to this is to give people health insurance with a higher deductible. I swear to God, that's what they came up with, which means that more of this money will have to come out of your pocket. Now, she says that, like, this is what's billed. So, and she has good insurance. So her insurance is going to pay most of this. But if you didn't have insurance, it's going to be a fortune. I didn't have insurance when we had our child. It was like 20, like the cash pay. I think it was 24,000 or something like that. No complications. We had to do IVF. That was about $40,000. We blew through like almost all of the money that we had saved just to have a child. And in every other country, you can just have a child. This isn't Obamacare. You guys are, see, this is what I'm saying.
Oh, price high? Let me say Obama. Obama is the problem.
I would like to point out also to you Republicans that not one of you has anything to add other than calling me an idiot. Not one of you can explain why this is good. Not one of you can explain why your solutions are good. It's just,
I don't like information that makes Republicans look bad, or I don't like information I can't explain. This man is dumb.
This is before insurance, and just as an FYI, there was no complications at all during my birth. Natural delivery.
Your parents weren't forced to put you on the insurance because of Obamacare. They were allowed to extend it. You used to be allowed to be on there, I think, till 18 or 21, and they raised it to 25. And that actually brought prices down because then you didn't have to pay for your own. You could be covered on theirs. And then the more people that are on a plan, the more they can divide the cost. So you want more people on an insurance plan. But again, you guys are just advocating. This is just all ideological to you. I don't believe that the government should pay for health care, so I'm going to just say dumb shit like, it's not fair. I shouldn't have to pay for something. If you don't have a car, should you not have to pay taxes? If you don't use the police, should you not have to pay taxes? If you don't have kids, should you not have to pay taxes? Your ideology is stupid and selfish. But that's what we expect from these good Christian Republicans. I love Jesus and the teachings of Jesus. You should share some of your money. Fuck no, I ain't going to do that. I'm not going to put my money towards the collective good. I'm a conservative. Culture war. It's a culture war. Insurance is now a culture war, they say. Meanwhile, I won't play that. I just saw there's a video about Michael Dell who just gave like that $6.25 billion. Turns out they're going to be able to write off like 75% of that. And it shrinks the size of their estate so that they don't have to pay taxes on their estate tax. Turns out that $6.425 billion they gave, which isn't going to help a great deal, was just a tax break. So that's pretty cool. I want to get to the meat of this stuff today. Let me go down here. Let's talk about trickle-down economics. I want to show this chart here. This is a chart on a study by inflation by the Congressional Budget Office. And it shows the money in the private market that flows to the top 20%, and that very little flows down. Let me show you the graph that they just released here. You can see here, this is the cumulative growth in real income before taxes and transfers when calculated using PCE deflators. So this is the top quintile. This is the top 20%. This is the bottom 20%. And right here, you see the introduction of trickle-down economics. Basically, when everything was about equal. This is kind of how things went. When you saw like the rising in wages, when you have a progressive tax system where the richest people are taxed the most by percentage, you see that people's collective wealth kind of rises together. And rich people convinced Ronald Reagan, the actor, Ronald Reagan, the populist actor, celebrity, Ronald Reagan. Notice how every time all the rich people get power and get what they want, They use some sort of celebrity who's a dumbass, and they prop them up as a genius because they can speak well in front of people or they can get attention. And then they're like, look, it's a genius. And then you're like, yeah, he is a genius. And then they just suck all the money out of our economy. Well, that's what happened here. You can see after trickle-down economics, this is the growth in real income for the top 20%. And this is the growth from the bottom 20%. Is it working? Republicans, for 1 second, stop personally insulting me and attack the argument here. Somebody attack this. Tell me why this is working. Why should you have this big of a gap? And this is growth. Why is the bottom 20% kind of flattening out and the top 20% is accelerating? Tell me why you're still supporting this, please. My guess is it's because you never look at shit like this. Because what you've been told is trickle-down economics is fair. Why should the rich be taxed for just making more money? They took the risk. They deserve all the money. Well, what the fuck? What were all the people doing before 1979? Nobody was taking a risk? We had the whole industrial revolution in this country without risk? Somehow nobody took any risk before that? Explain it. For the next 5 minutes, every Republican who takes a personal shot at me or doesn't answer this question is going to get muted for 5 minutes. Tell me why this works. And I'm going to call out names that are dumb, and you guys are going to get muted. So we're going to do the engagement now. Or are they all just going to go quiet? System is broken. Free ride over. Surprise. Larry, I asked you why this is good. Wait, what's broken about this system, Larry? If this isn't trickle-down economics, thanks for engaging, Larry. If this isn't due to trickle-down economics, then what is this due to? If this isn't because we give massive tax breaks to rich people, then explain this a different way, please. Because my contention is this is trickle-down economics. Healthcare is given to illegals. Okay, Mad Dog is muted for 5 minutes. Good try, Mad Dog. Trickle down only works if you let it go for like 300 years. Then it'll work, I promise. Yes, I am. If you are upset at me because I'm pointing out the problems with trickle-down economics, I'm going to assume that you are Republican adjacent, because anybody still defending trickle-down economics just isn't doing any research, and that is kind of a Republican thing. Boy, tough. This is very much trickle down. Trickle down is a unicorn, never existed. Illegals don't get health care. Thank you. It's pathetic. What's the question? The question is, Locke, why are we still cutting taxes for rich people if this is what we get? Before this, rich people were taxed at much higher rates. They're between, I guess, like 1930 and 1979, the top marginal tax rate was between like 60 and 90%. Now the top rate's what did we just change it to? 30, 37, 36, something like that? Why are we still doubling down on cutting taxes for rich people when it's clear all it does is gives them more wealth and makes the poor more poor? There's no such thing as Bidenomics, dipshit. We were under Donald Trump's tax plan the whole time. Drop the Fox is muted for 5 minutes because he can't engage. He can only do whataboutism. Let's keep trying. I'm gonna root out all of you today. They won't trickle down their money until they pay off their yacht expenses. All right, let's keep going. Let's see who's here. Everyone I know who is a Republican always says because they're the ones who give the jobs to people. Yeah, okay. Illegals get free health care. Ask for free health care too. After 650, Mike, because they donate money to. Okay, yeah. No, but why do sorry, Locke. The question is, why do Republican voters keep defending this system? My contention is they don't read, they don't understand any of it, and their entire ideology is vibes. All right. Boy, they got quiet. All we have to do to quiet the trolls is ask questions and threaten them to be muted if they don't participate in the conversation. And then they go. All right, Stick's muted too. Sorry, Stick. I asked a real question. You're just attacking me. Stick's muted for 5 minutes. That's pretty normal. Anybody else? Because Fox News, I think billionaires give people jobs. Rich will trickle it down when they have enough. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to keep doing this every day. We're going to make it real obvious that you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And hopefully this will start to hurt your feelings enough that you'll start reading. I don't want you to trust me. I don't want you to say, you're right. I want you to go research it and say, is he right? Can I prove that trickle-down economics is working? There we go. All right. This is actually pretty crazy. This is awesome work from More Perfect Union. I don't know if anybody does better investigative journalism than More Perfect Union. But here's an example of why we should, one, be afraid of or be nervous, and we should heavily regulate AI, but two, why we should stop deregulating. The solution to our problems in this country, if we are going to keep doing capitalism, is heavy, heavy, heavy regulation. Imagine like building a lead in a football game. Let's say that you're up 30 to 0 at halftime. It's 30 to 0, and you go into halftime, and the other team's like, "Fuck, we got to catch up. We're gonna have to fight and claw." And then the refs come out and they say, "You know what? No rules in the second half. You can hold. You can jump off sides. No more rules in the second half." That's going to benefit the people that are already ahead, right? Why are we deregulating for people that are this far ahead? This is fascinating. So what this is they went through Instacart. And what they're finding out now is that the access to information and the vast amount of consumer data that we allow people to buy and sell and use, because our government doesn't protect our information or our data, it has allowed these people to take you and I and charge us different prices for different things based on our habits, assuring that prices continue to artificially rise, ensuring that we don't have a free market. This is fascinating. Republicans, you may want to go somewhere else, though. You're probably not going to follow this. Let me get comments real quick before we go. Thoughts on Paramount Warner Brother deal to change CNN? It's going to happen. There's nothing we can do about it. If that group buys CNN, everybody should stop watching CNN, and everybody should go to any of their friends that watch CNN and convince them there should be an all-out campaign to boycott CNN. Make it hurt. It's going to cost them billions of dollars, and their goal is to influence the public mindset. If any of these massive corporations are buying out a news organization, boycott that news organization. That's our collective response. That's the only way we could do that. We should be. Look, I mostly am boycotting CNN, unless I have a politician on CNN where I have a clip. But I'm taking clips, and CNN gets nothing for that. I got rid of the Paramount Act. I agree. I think you got to go against their pockets. But anyways, here's this video.
The Holy Grail for a long time.
Oh, shit. Sorry. ADD. I forgot I was going through all the comments. Jen said, I hate all liars. Here. Then I'll update the goal. That. Tiffany said, Merry Crisis. Thank you. Cam said the next movie should be The Room. It's a masterpiece. I don't know if I've seen that. And just a reminder for Republicans, if you do want to come up and discuss any of that, if you look at the Venmo username, it's JenDub1. That's also her Discord username, and she can bring you up and you can talk live on air with me. So if you disagree with anything I'm saying and you'd like to debate it, you're welcome to come up. I've got all day. I got nothing to do today, so I'll be here.
Time has been, what if we could charge every single person the maximum amount that we know they're
And Jen said TikTok support. Thank you.
able to or willing to pay?
They know things about us that we don't know. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in a way that is incalculable.
Walk into any grocery store, and on average, everything is about 30% more expensive than it was in 2020.
inflation, supply chains,
Tariffs.
We've heard it all. But what if something else is happening? Something intentional? What if someone is charged $2 for these eggs, but another person is charged $2.40 at the same exact store? And it's pushing prices up. 5 months ago, a researcher reached out to me about Instacart. She'd been studying their Washington, D.C. workforce. Different pay for nearly identical work. Her question: if they do this to workers, what about consumers? Before joining More Perfect Union, I worked in grocery pricing, so I agreed to help investigate. The problem? It wasn't easy to test. Grocery prices change all the time, for legitimate reasons. Receipts you can't compare. If we wanted to do this, we'd need a team. A researcher, community organizers, other journalists, and most importantly, regular people who care. Lots of them. 5 months of digging, what we found is bigger than Instacart. Yes, inflation is real, but something else has been pushing prices higher this whole time. There's a system, one that grocery stores and tech companies built together. It learns from...
Oh, Sahar, you're sitting here watching me, so at least one of us is getting paid, right? Republicans, I would recommend watching this video because this isn't about like politics here. This isn't Republicans or Democrats. This is how we are enabling these massive corporations to legitimately steal from us, and by ruining the free market. Anybody that claims to be a free market capitalist, watch this. There is no free market. It's dead. AI's killing it. Massive corporations are killing it. The access to this type of information this quickly is something only multi-billion-dollar organizations can afford to do. This is very expensive for them to do. You can't do it with your business. Wherever you work, if you're not one of these multi-billion-dollar corporations, you can't do this. They will run you out. This should matter. This isn't a partisan thing. This is a place where all of us should agree that we shouldn't allow corporations to do all of this. And it's pretty clear. That's why I love this video. It's going to be pretty clear that they're deciding what to charge you based on what their algorithms say about how you buy stuff.
Every purchase.
It's not just online. It's in the physical stores you walk into, with the primary goal: maximize profit.
Day by day, it's moving billions of dollars, one penny at a time.
Here's how we uncovered it, how it's turning the grocery business into a gold mine, and why, without regulation, your grocery bill may...
Gary, I appreciate it. Easy, grow your own food. Not everybody can grow their own food. Not everybody knows how to grow your own food, and that's good advice, Gary, but that doesn't mean we should stop fixing shit. We have to be better than this as a country. We have to be the type of people who don't think that every solution is, oh, I'll fix it myself. I agree. Grow your own food. If you can grow your own food, I would grow my own food. I live in Phoenix. You know, there's a lot of things that don't grow here. And I could move. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. But we should also have a good system.
Keep climbing no matter what happens with inflation.
I'm now going to ask you to take out your phone, and we're going to get started with shopping for 20 items at the Safeway.
This is Katie Wells. She's the Director of Research at Groundwork Collaborative. She's the one who reached out. The plan was pretty simple. Get everyone in a room. Open up Instacart.
Mute Larry for being stupid for 2 minutes. Larry, shut the fuck up. I don't know why you look for inconsistencies in everything. If you just shut the fuck up, you could learn something, man. Respectfully. You talk too much. Just listen. This isn't about me. It's not about you. I'm not saying don't pay for services. I'm saying we should legislate things to help you. Get out of your own way, Larry. You're on a 2-minute timeout, and during this 2-minute timeout, I want you to think about what type of human you are. Are you a human who just listens to argue, or are you a human who wants to learn new things and do the right thing? This should not be controversial, what we're watching. I am shocked to see Republicans still arguing with me. Let it go. You can argue with me in a minute when I make fun of your dipshit politicians. But right now, this is for all of us.
Select the same store, same items. On phones and computers. Select Pickup to remove any delivery calculations. And write our basket totals down on a note card. All to test a simple question. Were shoppers being charged different amounts for the same exact item at the same exact store and time?
Congratulations, guys. You have finished the test.
First, we all shared our cart totals.
We're in the same room, the same address ordering, and we still had different prices.
You're the highest.
I'm not surprised. What I've come to understand is that a lot of things that we do online is predicated on algorithms.
Different totals. There's plausible explanations. Promotions, user error, app issues. But if the items themselves had different prices, that's something else.
The items had upwards of 3 different prices offered.
Katie analyzed the data.
The greatest difference was about a 70-cent spread. For eggs, the prices varied from $4.59 to $4.69, down
Shannon said, thanks for the daily education. Appreciate it, Shannon.
to $4.28.
Okay, just breaking this down simply. These people are all shopping at the same store using an app, and they're getting different prices. That shouldn't be allowed, right? Like everybody should be able to agree on that. Republicans, Democrats, we should be okay with this idea that how much you make shouldn't determine what you pay at this grocery store, or how often you shop online, or how much they think you make, or how much they think you're willing to go in debt. This shouldn't be legal, right? Patrick, you're muted for 2 minutes too. Stop talking about people who are in welfare states when you're a Republican. Stop talking about welfare until you stop being a Republican. You guys are the welfare recipients of the world, and you give all your money to rich people. Patrick's muted for 2 minutes.
It was a 41-cent span.
One store, one moment in time. It's a small sample size. This could be a fluke.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have found your way to the Consumer Reports grocery pricing webinar.
The problem with testing any of this is that these systems are so massive that you need scale to even try. Consumer Reports joined the collaboration. They brought a volunteer network, community organizers, a reporter. Alongside them, we recruited volunteers, over 400 people. Same process. Everyone opens Instacart. Same store, same.
All right, I like that. Okay, I think personally it should absolutely matter because it allows a business to offset prices and allows some people who cannot pay as much to pay less and those who can pay more to pay more. That would be fine. Like I actually like if what they were doing is like if these companies were taking a loss on some of their products, that would make more sense. But the thing is they're not taking a loss on any of this. So what they're deciding is how much profit can they make based on your income. I understand. I actually think it's not a terrible argument there, and largely we do that. We do that with farming, right? Like we subsidize farming all the time. They're not. We're giving them money so that they can sell their crop where they would operate at a loss if it wasn't for us, and we do that because in order to keep our economy afloat and to keep that 2 to 3% inflation every year, we'll subsidize things. It's not a terrible argument, but that's not what's happening here. Right? If that's what they were doing, I think that people would look at this as like, oh, this is actually kind of like a cool approach. If somebody's doesn't have enough money, then maybe we can take a loss on that product. But that's not what they're doing here. I appreciate what you're saying. I kind of agree with that logic, but that's not what's happening here.
Items. When pickup wasn't available, same delivery address, same moment. Screenshot everything. Submit. The team verified every entry, cross-checked every screenshot, built the database. Katie crunched the data. And when the data came back, I gotta be honest, I stared at it for a while because what we found was weird.
Rochambeau, I appreciate it. Get off your ass. Don't use Instagram. Don't use tech that rips you off. Fine. But why? That's fine. That's good personal advice, Rochambeau. But if it's still legal to use Instacart, I'm assuming you're not saying that DoorDash and Instacart should be illegal. So why can't you do both? Why can't we take that advice? I don't use Instacart anymore. I don't use DoorDash anymore. I think that's good advice. In fact, I have a new rule for myself, and it saved me a fortune, that if I'm going to go get food, I have to walk. Now, I'm fortunate enough I can walk to the grocery store. I can walk to the restaurants around me. But if I'm going to spend money on food, I go walk. Then I get exercise, and I do that. However, even though that's my personal ideology, I still don't think that these apps should rip us off. And this is where we have this disconnect, I think, sometimes with Republicans and conservatives in general. Both things can happen. You can take good advice, you can do the right thing financially, and you can also advocate that companies not rip people off. You can do both of those things. We can walk and chew gum. You don't have to be limited. And I think that sometimes as a conservative, when I was a conservative, and my conservative friends that I talk to now, I find that's where we run up against stuff. When we point out that a corporation or a rich person is stealing or taking advantage, you have been conditioned to say, well, take personal responsibility. Fine, but also don't allow it. Right? Like, it's illegal to break into my car and steal shit. I should also lock my car. If I don't lock my car, that doesn't mean that somebody should be able to go into my car and steal shit. Right? It should still be illegal for somebody to steal something out of my car, even if I don't take precautions and lock my car. We've got to be better at that as a country. This divide, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction, and I think it's because I'm on the other side here. I think that you just want to disagree with me. And so you say things that are good advice. That's good personal advice. I agree with you. But some people want to use DoorDash. Some people, it might make sense to use DoorDash. Perhaps whatever job they're doing, they don't have time to go to the grocery store. And if they take that time off, they would lose more money. So perhaps for those people, it makes sense to use DoorDash. But we shouldn't let DoorDash rip people off also. It could be both. It's okay to pay for luxury. What if you have enough money you want to use DoorDash? Great. But you still shouldn't rip people off, even if they're rich. You shouldn't be able to just like charge a rich person more for groceries. Just 'cause. And they don't even know. They don't know how much money's there. They just know how much the people spend. They don't know if these people are going into credit card debt. We've got to be able to do both things. We've got to be able to take personal accountability and advocate for a system that isn't run by criminals. It's not one or the other. Let's do both.
Weird. I'm going to show you some basket totals. Some people were charged about $114 for the 20 items. Others, nearly $124.
This wasn't in one or two cases. This was the lion's share of shoppers for the lion's share of items.
If you zoom in, nearly 3 out of 4 products had different prices during the experiments. 4 different prices for wheat thins. 5 different prices for eggs. 3 prices for peanut butter. Wait,
I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of people here that are saying they have disabilities. It's hard for them. So DoorDash is a nice thing. Now, what if DoorDash knows that you will never go to the store? That why wouldn't they charge you a little bit more? If they know you're going to continue to use this, like that's what we're talking about. I appreciate those of you who are sharing in the chat. Should it be okay for DoorDash to recognize somebody who's disabled, who can't go get groceries and say, oh, well, they have to. They have no other choice, so we can charge them more? I think we should all be able to agree that that should be illegal.
What? The system sorted people into price groups, where each person was charged the same for every item. For this test, there were 4 price groups. Same cart, same store, same moment. Same with this test. For this store, 7 different price groups. This didn't seem random, but who or what was doing the sorting? Back in August, before we even ran the test, I called Instacart. We don't set prices, retailers do. And we believed them. But the group suggested something deeper was going on. Why would an algorithm sort people into buckets where everyone pays the exact same prices?
Let's take care of Nawdog. Nawdog, what's your question? I'll answer it for you. What's your question? Are you hung up on me saying that prices never came down, but they sometimes come down, so you're trying to win on a technicality on that argument? That's fine. Prices sometimes come down. Overall prices go up. Now, are you willing to leave that conversation now? Is that what you're trying to do here? I just feel like everybody's missing the show for you, Nawdog. I'll give you some attention now. Is that what you're asking? Okay, great. Okay, guys, Nawdog doesn't support trickle down. What else? We'll fix this for you. He doesn't support trickle down. What else do you want to? And then you're saying that I said that prices don't come down, but there was a chart that showed prices kind of go up and down, but overall go up. Okay. All right, guys. Ronnie Nawdog says he doesn't support trickle down economics. Anything else you want to cover here, Nawdog? Are we good? Can we move on now? Can we get back to this shit? Okay, but we settled it now, right? All right, there we go.
Not just on one item, but across multiple products. All higher together, all lower together. I started researching, and that's when I stumbled on surveillance pricing. Companies tracking your behavior, your purchase history, and charging you based on that. It's a type of algorithmic pricing where companies hand pricing over to an algorithm.
It's almost impossible for people outside the companies practicing the dark art of algorithm price determination, exactly what is driving those algorithms to set the prices that we observe.
Len Sherman studies this at Columbia's Business School. Was that what was happening here? When we showed Instacart the test results, they were clear. Retailers control all pricing. The findings were just stores putting out random feelers to see where the pricing sweet spot is. They aren't targeting you specifically. So we verified with the stores we tested. First, Albertsons Safeway. They're an Instacart partner. Silence. Then we contacted Target. They responded. And honestly, my jaw dropped. They told us, we don't work with Instacart. We don't set prices. We have nothing to do with any of this. Wait, Instacart says retailers control the prices, and
this is a More Perfect Union who did this video, and we'll post the link in there. Actually, let me get the YouTube link. I forgot this was the Twitter link, because I do want to give them credit. Let me go over there real quick. Just sometimes it's easier. It's called, here's the thumbnail for it. We had 400 people shop for groceries. What we found will shock you. The channel is More Perfect Union.
Target says they don't even work with Instacart? I started digging. Turns out in 2017, Target spent over $500 million to buy Shipt, Instacart's competitor. Why would they help Instacart? We asked Instacart about Target's response. Instacart admitted they actually do manage Target's prices on the marketplace, and that they were running tests to figure out how much they can charge on top of Target's normal prices. Their explanation shifted, but the question we started with was still the same. How does the system sort people into different price groups? To figure that out, we needed to understand what Instacart actually does. You may think of Instacart as a delivery app, but it's much bigger than that.
With Instacart is more the technology. I don't think of it as a grocery delivery company. I think of it more of a technology company.
Selling technology that powers grocery websites, advertising campaigns, promotions. In 2022, Instacart bought Eversight, a company that optimizes grocery prices.
Eversight says it runs constant experiments that are not made visible to consumers, and it is running tests in part.
That's probably a good point, Fender, that they probably track your tips to see who's willing to spend more, probably. I did an analysis on my own finances not that long ago. I was doing Instacart all the time, and then I was like, I thought, like, oh, my time is valuable. It was a mess. The amount of money I spend on groceries now versus when I was using Instacart is crazy. Plus, there's no ads. It's not like trying to convince me to buy anything. Well, and now the other thing is, now that I'm going to the grocery store, and again, I recognize not everybody can go to the store, but like now that I go to the grocery store, my gas is actually cheaper too, because I can use like my in-store whatever that gets the gas price that takes like 10 cents off a gallon for every 100 you sell or whatever, or it's $100 you buy or whatever it is.
To collect data about how much I'm willing to pay for canola oil, and it's using that information to likely create more profits for these companies.
Larry, I'm going to mute you again if you can't say something intelligent. Use the court system if you're unhappy. What? Bro, you're in here complaining every day. Stop it. Just watch something and learn something today, Larry. I don't want to have to mute you again. Just one day, Larry. Just learn one thing.
The company calls it AI for everyday price performance. The website promises 2 to 5% profit increases. In early November, Consumer Reports ran follow-up experiments at Costco.
I find the price of groceries are lower when I'm wearing a backpack and stuff accidentally falls in it.
They found price gaps, 15% on a bag of chips. Derek asked Costco to explain.
We got an email a few hours later from a Costco vice president of grocery.
The message described a program called Smart Rounding.
It took us a little bit of time to realize what we were seeing, which was an internal communication between Instacart and Costco. Inadvertently, this Costco executive forwarded us this internal email.
Whoops!
As far as we can tell, Instacart has only talked about Smart Rounding once, in a 2023 letter to shareholders.
Thanks, Susan.
The company defined it. Machine learning-driven tool that helps retailers improve price perception and drive incremental sales. Translation: flex prices up or down based on what the algorithm says will maximize profit.
For some of our major grocery partners, this has led to millions of dollars in annual incremental sales.
millions of dollars.
This is a very sophisticated, very deliberate, explicit attempt to maximize profits and do so somewhat surreptitiously.
Remember the movie Office Space? This might be aging me a little bit, but remember in Office Space how they committed a crime because they took like a fraction of a penny off of every transaction and it led to them getting a bunch of money? It's interesting how if an employee did that and we stole from a company in that way, that we would go to prison. But when a corporation does the exact same thing, I'm having a hard time convincing everybody, which is crazy. Like, I can't believe everybody in the chat isn't outraged at what we're watching right now. They're allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do this. They can deceive you. They can move prices around for you, but you can't do the same thing back to them. And again, this just goes back to being a cuck isn't just about watching your wife get fucked or your girlfriend get fucked or your significant other getting fucked. That's like, it's a whole culture. And conservatism is straight up cuckery. I know that was probably like a hard shift. It's just straight up cuckery. But you are cucks to the billionaire. And I mean this, I'm trying to say this in a way, I'm not actually trying to insult you. I'm saying something insulting and kind of rude, but I mean it. You actually are cucks to people who abuse. When the military doesn't pass a budget, that's fine. Who the fuck cares? When police overstep their boundaries, who the fuck cares? They're the ones in charge. When ICE is detaining U.S. citizens, who cares? When we don't give people due process, who cares? When we murder people indiscriminately in the water, who cares? When somebody tries to steal money from Medicaid and those people are poor, you motherfuckers, deport them all. Get rid of all of them. When you steal Medicare and you're a white dude in Florida, that's fine. Put him in the Senate. You have to at some point understand who you are. And you have been taught that it is brave and patriotic and it's like real man shit. That you don't mind that people are ripping you off. We have a cuckery pandemic in this country. And I wish that all of you would just abandon like your Christianity or your morals or whatever and like let that cuckery play out in your sex life. Just in your personal life, let the cuckery happen. Maybe you want to be led around by a leash. But let that stuff out so that it stops coming out in our politics and in our economics. I'm tired of the fact that we all have to live in a cuck state because you guys are Christian. You can't do your cuckery in other ways, so you just do it in this way. Like, oh, rich people can do whatever they want to us. We got to stop that shit. It's irritating, it's alarming, it's frustrating, it's sad, it's nauseating to sit here and watch. Like we're showing you a video about how the richest people in this country are stealing from everyday Americans, and Republicans are like, well, I guess then don't shop there. I guess just don't shop there. But if this was a video of a Hispanic person stealing this bag or this microwavable sweet potato here, you'd be like, well, you have to deport everybody. I'm tired of you guys being cucks to the billionaire class, and I'm tired of you guys complaining that we stand up for the working class people and poor people and immigrants and people with disabilities and people who have sex differently than you do. I'm so tired of you guys acting like somehow we're subservient for demanding equality and that you guys are morally righteous for demanding that we continue to be cucks to the billionaires. Everyday Insanity, thank you so much for the gifted subs. Appreciate it.
We'd answered some questions. Different prices for different people. Yes. Random testing? Maybe not. Smart rounding showed it's designed for profit. Retailers in control? Debatable. Instacart sets at least one grocer's prices. But we still couldn't answer, how does the system sort people into price groups? Then one store showed us the bigger picture. Schnucks, regional grocer. They're on every Instacart press release. No price variation at all. One night it hit me. What if they already moved past online testing? You've probably heard stories about electronic shelf labels.
Thanks, Kelly, for joining the Dollar Train.
Digital price tags that can change prices instantly. If they're testing prices in store with those labels, and the app just mirrors what's on the shelf, you'd never catch it with our test, which might explain Schnucks. The typical fear with these labels is surge pricing, raising lemonade prices when it's hot out. What if the goal isn't surge pricing at all? What if it's more subtle, more permanent? Would you rather charge $10 for a bottle of water during a single hurricane? Or 20 cents more every single day? Derek had a genius idea. Patents. He found one. It described an infrastructure for constant in-store price testing. Take dozens of stores, cluster them together, test different prices in different clusters. The purpose? Find out the most profitable.
Mr. Twan, it's good to. I'm sorry you had to leave, and you came back just as dumb as you left. So that was cool. I didn't say abandon your morals. I said stop taking your kinks and forcing them on all of us. If you want to be a cuck, be a cuck. Just do it in your personal life. Don't force your cuckery on all the rest of us. That's what I said. If you're not a cuck, then stop acting like a cuck.
Price point. Once you do, adopt it. We asked Schnucks and Instacart. Both denied it. But for Instacart, their website told a different story. If you go there right now, you'd see this, 3 features. Before we asked, 4 features. And the one removed, price optimization with Eversight via electronic shelf labels. Gone.
Patrick, I didn't say you get government benefits. I said Republican states do. I don't know your personal life. Just Republicans love handouts. The Republican states love handouts. Republican governors love handouts, but they just give it to rich people. And then they make you work 50 hours a week, pay taxes, and put food on the table. Well, like the billionaires, they don't even have to do anything. They're just sitting around making more money than you.
So Instacart denied doing it, then changed their website. Later, they told us it was never a feature and the update was made for accuracy. But that didn't track. The feature seems to show up in past marketing materials and press releases. If it's operational, the system would be a truly impressive feat of engineering. In store, testing across locations. Online, testing across individuals. But we still couldn't answer how the online system decided who gets charged more. So we started building a theory, not based on what Instacart told us, but on what Instacart told the government. Patents. The word that appears over and over in them, it's not random.
Oh, this happens to me all the time. Actually, it's just a matter of time before you grab something off the shelf at $149, get to the register, it's $250. That happens. Have you guys ever done like an instant coupon and then you go to check out and they're like, oh, never mind, that instant coupon doesn't work. Happens all the time.
It's segmentation. Derek started reading through the criteria.
I want to address this, Mr. Twan. By advocating for the rights of black people, if you're saying, if that's what caused me to be a white savior, or advocating for the rights of immigrants, what are you a billionaire savior? Like I think that if we're going to apply that, if we're going to say whatever you advocate for, you're a savior for that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable advocating for equality. It's not like the slam that you think it is. One, I don't believe in saviors. That's your belief. So this is you applying your own belief system, which is fucking stupid in the first place. It's really fucking stupid to believe in a savior. It's small-minded. It's dipshittery. I could do whatever I want as long as I say that I believe in Jesus. That's fucking stupid. So you're applying your ideology to me. I don't believe in saviors, but I do believe in advocacy, and I think that equality is very important. And I think that everybody, regardless of what they look like, should be afforded the same rights, privileges, and treatment. So you're bringing in the savior thing, but if we're going to apply your logic to it, what do you advocate for? We need to cut taxes for billionaires. We need to pardon scammers. We need to elect billionaire rapists. So let's apply it then. Let's apply it equally. What do you advocate for? Listen, faith is unshakable if you're unwilling to acknowledge facts. I'm not trying to go after your faith here. I'm using your faith. Right? I'm using your logic. What are you a savior for then? If you advocate for anything, are you then a savior for that? So what do you advocate for? Come on, Mr. Twan. You finally got my fucking attention. Come on. Don't like, what are you advocating for? Let's talk about what you're a savior for. Mr. Twan, what do you advocate for? If you respond with a personal attack or a question, you get muted. Now we're talking. What do you advocate for? Please don't answer with a question or change the subject. Then I have to mute you. If I'm going to stop this video and talk to you, we got to do this. What are you advocating for, Mr. Twan? I'm giving him time to type. He's not muted yet. I'm just giving him a heads up. I've dealt with enough of you that generally speaking, when I do this, I can't get an answer. So I have to like pre-threaten. Did we lose him? God, those comments were coming quickly. Are you thinking about it? You praying about it? Boy, those comments were coming fast and furious, Twan. Remember earlier when I said I didn't believe that Republicans stand for anything, that they just are whiny bitches? How many times is this now? This is the fifth or sixth time now? Patrick, get your boys. How come every time I ask your friends to answer a question, they can't answer and they just disappear? Yeah, he's out. All right. Well, if he comes back and he doesn't answer that question, then mods, if he says anything other than answering what he advocates for when he comes back, just mute him for 5 minutes at a time. Appreciate it.
They could use to sort people. Some things raised red flags. Demographics. It's illegal to charge someone more.
Sparty, I'm not arguing my points with 200 characters for his mods to mute me mid-discussion. Yeah, you're a bitch. You can come up here. Do you want to talk to me? All right, Twan, one more chance. You can come up here and talk to me right now. So you can either complain and not advocate for anything, or you can sit in there and bitch, or you can come up and talk to me. You choose. If you want to come up and talk to me, give me a thumbs up. If you don't want to talk to me, give me a thumbs down.
In fairness, he hadn't been muted. So.
Oh, and you haven't even been muted. Yeah, that's crazy.
No, I mean, I think one of his comments was removed.
Just because he wouldn't
just now, because he wouldn't engage with the point. But I sent you. I mean, I sent you some of the screenshots of all the things that he's been saying.
Oh, I don't know. I'm asking you, have mental what to think about your white saviors. Does he hate watching? I find Trani hilarious. You literally said the words abandon your morals. I had to leave for a moment due to white savior. Black liberals hold the whole community down. I'm a victim. Weak. Okay, gotcha. Okay, is he is he coming up?
No, he's muted for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So.
All right, Mr. Twan. In that 5 minutes, you can figure out how to come up here. You just message GenDub1 on Discord, and if you come back, you got to answer that question or you got to go. And Patrick, you got to start talking to your friends. I appreciate you being here again, but your friends got to start getting some courage, bud.
Based on those. Katie controlled for that. No correlation in the sample.
I don't believe they would try to vary prices based on those kinds of characteristics, nor would it be very effective if they did. What would be way more effective and perfectly legal, as far as I know, is to vary prices based on behavioral characteristics.
Behavioral characteristics. That's exactly what the patents show. Buying behavior, purchase history, how frequently you shop, whether you're shopping around, coupon usage, loyalty program participation, an infrastructure that tracks everything you do.
Thanks, Rich.
Uses it to decide what to charge you. We asked Instacart, does this explain who gets sorted into different price groups? Their response? One old patent from 2015, before we purchased Eversight. Patents are always broad. This doesn't prove we're actually using this technology. Fair point. Here's the same chart and a host of other patents, mostly about promotions. Marketing material that touts the patents. And then this one, a promotional patent that describes shopper and product headroom, meaning how much more money could this person spend overall? And how much more could they spend on this product?
Uh-oh, caught him. When Kamala Harris was running and she advocated putting on price caps, she was talking about like how much money a grocery store can charge over the price that they paid. That's why it's needed. Exactly. This is predatory. This idea of how much could they spend overall, how much more could the shopper spend on this product? If we don't have laws standing in the way of this, then what is our government for? Why, if our government isn't here to protect us, what are they for? If we can't use the government as leverage against people who want to take all of our money, what are they there for? I'm always curious about the people that are like, we need to, the government's too big. Well, the smaller government gets, the more of this we get. The less the government intervenes, the more monopolies we get, the more of the money that they're going to try and take us, because they don't want you to save money. They don't give a fuck. They don't want you to have a house. In fact, if we're all in apartments, it makes it easier for them to deliver. They're making a little more money there. Our economy has gone from, like, when it comes to housing, like all these people that used to build big developments, they're all doing, like in my state, they're all doing these really small homes now. These like 1,200 square foot 2-bedroom homes that are just packed right next to each other. And they look like homes, but they're right next to each other, and they put them all in a little gated community, and they make them look nice. And then they rent them. All of these people, they want all the money flowing up. And we still have to convince people in this country that trickle-down economics isn't a funnel up. Of course it is. And then these same companies who are doing all of this, they're figuring out a way to get these programmers and these software developers to be replaced by AI. So they're not only are they making record profits, but they're about to figure out how to fire all the people who made this possible for them. It's like digging a hole for, like, it's just digging your own grave here. Why am I digging? Well, eventually we're going to kill you and you're going to be in there. Oh, okay. Well, at least they're paying me now. We got to get Republicans. You have to at some point recognize that you are dooming this country. You're absolutely dooming this country by allowing this type of shit to happen. And nobody has ever been a bigger friend to these corporations than Donald Trump. He's going through with a hatchet. You had Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, with a chainsaw going, chainsaw, I'm going to cut regulation. Bitch, you've got plenty. Why are we listening to Elon Musk and these billionaires about regulation? Yeah, trickle down should be called topside accumulation theory. Yeah, that's a way better name for it. It's far more accurate.
The patent says they can calculate this for every...
Oh, good reference. I owe my soul to the company store. I am FRCD said, chugging along, thank you. Burned Out Medic, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. And also, I think you sent a message here, said, imagine how advanced the human race would be if it weren't for Republicans and religion. Yeah, imagine.
Individual consumer. But for efficiency, typically, people are grouped with similar consumers. Groups, just like our test showed.
Thanks, Betsy.
Every company that I know is practicing first-degree price discrimination, strenuously denies that they're doing so.
And again, Instacart denies segmenting people by personal or behavioral data. What happens when companies actually do this at scale? In 2022, Uber rolled out algorithmic pricing for riders and drivers. Len studied what happened next.
For the next 3 years, average rider price per mile went up.
Uber denies all of this. But at about this time, they went from burning money to a cash machine.
That's why more and more companies are trying as hard as they can to perfect this dark art. Devilishly effective dark art, as I've called it.
A lot of people have pointed this out, but another piece here, which they're not going to cover in this video because it's not part of what they're looking at here, but the other part of this is shaving money off of what they're paying the drivers for both Uber and DoorDash and Instacart, and switching the model and trying to rely more on tips. Originally, Uber didn't want to do tips, and they had to be convinced to do tips because they're like, hey, look, we're not going to be profitable here unless we're able to take all of this money and funnel it in. We have all these investors we have to repay. We have hundreds of millions of dollars in investment money, and they're expecting a return, and too much of that money is going to the driver, so we're going to have to now do tipping. I don't remember if it was Uber or Lyft who did that. It might have been Lyft. One of them, like by design, they weren't going to do tipping. And now you have to. And now you have to do it with Instacart. And that's what they're relying on. Because they have all of this money that's been invested and they have to pay that off. That's the other part of this that they're leaving out, is that while they're making record profits, all of the people doing the actual work are getting fucked. And they're barely making enough they make just enough that they have to keep doing this. And that calculation's done too. How do you get an Uber driver who drives 20 hours a week to drive 30 hours a week? Make it so that they have to drive 30 hours a week. How do you make it so they have to drive 30 hours a week? Yeah, you cut the amount that they're getting per ride. Right? And they're all doing it. You talk to anybody who does Uber full time, so many of them are like, man, I don't even know if it's worth it because it's cool for like 3 years, but then I got to get a new car because I've run my car into the ground, and then I have to go into debt, and then I got to do more hours because now the price of the car went up, the price of gas is going up. They're cutting what I'm making at Uber or Lyft, and now they're just in this endless cycle where they're stuck working for what was supposed to be a side hustle. What was supposed to be like, hey, you have a car that sits there sometimes. Why don't you use it and make a little money off your car? Now it's become something that people have to do. It's become a full-time job, and they can't get out of that cycle. Why? Capitalism. Why? We allow speculative economies. Why? Because they need their stock price to go up. Instacart, DoorDash, Uber, they all need their stock price to go up. And they either need more investment or they need more profit. And if they don't have more investment, they need more profit. And the only way for them to make more profit is either have more people use the system or cut expenses. And it's kind of hard to get more people to use the system, so they have to cut expenses. So they take from driver pay, they'll cut out software engineers, they'll cut out developers, they'll try and replace them with AI. All of this is just the richest people in our country figuring out a way to no longer pay any of us. And who the fuck do they care if you die? You know what I mean? Like, why do they care? Why do they care if you don't have a job? You can die. If you're not paying their bills anyways, why the fuck do they care? We are Russia, and we're past a tipping point, and now we're at a point where we have to have radical change. That's why I think I was a little like. That's why part of the reason that I've been a little wishy-washy on Jasmine Crockett. Like, I need radicals. I don't want any of these bullshit Democrats anymore. I don't want anybody who's not willing to do what Mom Donnie did. I don't want anybody who's not going out there saying we need radical change now. This incremental change shit isn't going to work, especially when you're up against Republicans who get to say, look, Democrats don't do anything either, but at least Republicans cut my taxes. You need to give them something to draw a comparison for. If you went to Republicans and they're like, well, Donald Trump's going to cut my taxes, you're like, great. How much are we paying for healthcare every year? $24,000. Good news. Your company's not paying that anymore. You're not paying that anymore. So your company can pay you more now. And guess what you pay for healthcare now? $8,000 a year. Congratulations. You're paying more in taxes, but I just saved you $12,000 a year. And I saved your company $12,000 a year. So now they can pay you that extra money. If we don't give Republicans that, they're not going to change. If we go to Republicans that are like, it is slightly a little bit better. The economy slightly outperforms Republicans, which is true. Democrats slightly add to the deficit less. So we're a little bit more fiscally responsible than Republicans. But that tiny little bit's not going to incentivize a Republican to give up on tax cuts. They're never going to do that. You have to give them an actual option, an actual radical way forward. And this incrementalism shit isn't going to work. As much as Republicans bother me, and they do bother me, I'm sick and tired of these fucking Democrats. I'm sick and tired of them just incremental change. Chuck Schumer can get the fuck out. How are they watching this happen and they come up with, our solution to healthcare is to extend the ACA subsidies 3 more years. Oh, cool. So all 3 years, premiums will continue to go up? Great. It's unaffordable now, even with the subsidies. And your solution is, let's extend the subsidies for 3 years. Let's put a little Band-Aid on it. No. There's got to be real change. And there are a lot of Republicans who it won't matter. But you don't need a lot of them. You need 10%, 5%. You need enough of them that you can get people to push through Medicare for all and to push through like massive anti-monopoly legislation. Democrats should only be running on taking down the oligarchy. Anybody who's not running on that, they won't get an ounce of time from me, except for maybe some criticism.
That's how you turn grocery sales into a gold mine.
Now, algorithmic pricing sometimes offers lower prices, and the total impact on grocery prices, impossible to measure. Instacart is just one company, a sliver of the grocery market. They claim 10 clients with Eversight. What are other companies doing? I started looking.
Pricing is the single most powerful lever to raise profits, far more effective than either boosting sales or cutting costs.
Prices optimized. Profit increases.
There's an entire industry built around optimizing grocery prices. I called Earl Schweizer, 25 years in grocery, former VP of grocery at Whole Foods. Why is everyone racing to adopt this?
It's very much defensive. Amazon's already doing it. Walmart is doing it. So everybody's got to keep up.
Merchants, pricing teams, they all rely on technology and algorithms to safeguard their profits.
That's Walmart's former VP of pricing.
So Instacart has played this really vital role for the competitors of Amazon and Walmart, which is pretty much almost everybody else, to have a lot of the same tools and access to consumers.
Good question, John Mattoon. Who specifically are the oligarchs? Stick around. I'm actually going to get to that because I do think it's important to name those. But I think I'll have, rather than ending this video right now, which has 3 more minutes, stick around and we'll get to that.
The big guys.
The systems are watching you, learning your patterns, using that to charge everyone accordingly.
They know things about us that we don't know. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in a way that is incalculable.
This didn't happen overnight. 20 years of building this infrastructure. It was kept in check by inertia. Everyone was afraid to raise prices. COVID changed that.
There's no guardrails. It's a free-for-all. It's wild, wild west.
Companies are investing millions into systems designed to outsmart you. Testing, learning, finding the maximum profit.
The holy grail for a long time has been, what if we could charge every single person the maximum amount that we know they're able to or willing to pay? Studies like this are just validating that firms are very much already midway through trying this, executing it.
That's Lena Khan, former chair of the Federal Trade Commission. She agreed to review our findings with an eye to how we should protect consumers.
This could ultimately end up being another big form of wealth transfer from ordinary Americans to massive corporations.
I asked about the in-store testing apparatus, electronic shelf labels, the patents.
Firms have been trying to figure that out for many decades, but I think what's different now is both the sophistication of the tools that are available, just the deep information asymmetries that exist between consumers and these firms that are benefiting.
But there was something else that concerned her.
When you have companies like Instacart that could be facilitating, it could also ultimately allow firms that really should be competing against one another when setting these prices to actually engage more in something that looks like price fixing or collusion.
Because it could mean that one company, Instacart, is setting prices for retailers who should be competing with each other. Then I asked her about regulation. Her answer surprised me.
I think we need to have a much more first order conversation about, do we even want to permit some of these tactics in the first instance?
Under Khan's watch, the FTC started an investigation into surveillance pricing.
This week, it launched an investigation, the FTC, into the use of AI to rapidly change pricing.
That investigation is now in question. The Trump administration claims it is ongoing, but Khan's replacement stopped public comments. But Lena pointed out that states don't need to wait for the Trump administration.
The steps we've seen, even from states like California and New York, to ban certain types of algorithmic price fixing in areas like housing and rent, for example, I think are extraordinarily important steps. We need more investigations. So I think we need a 360 view to try to understand what's really happening here.
5 months, 3 organizations, 400 volunteers. We know the system exists for surveillance pricing, but we don't know if it's operational, because we can't see inside. And that's intentional. It's a system that's designed to stay hidden.
This work that you all have done is fantastic, but state AGs have subpoena power. They can be requesting and demanding information so they could look under the hood and be understanding how are firms actually using this data.
Let's talk about the oligarchy. Let me make sure I got caught up on, like, wore me out a little bit. Let's see. I got all these. Thank you, Betsy. I don't know if I said thank you to you already. I might have. I got a TikTok message. I don't remember if it was Hoodie or who was it? Somebody got muted. Jen, who was it who just messaged me on TikTok that said they got muted? Who was that?
It was Hoodie.
It was Hoodie.
Yeah, I responded to him. I put the screenshot in our chat.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. Yeah, so whoever muted Hoodie, take that. Sorry, Hoodie. My bad. Norma said, thanks for getting me through my workday while teaching me something new every day while making me laugh while raising my anxiety. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Somebody asked I don't remember who it was. Sorry, I didn't write it down, who the oligarchs were. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And I didn't have these saved. But let me give you an example of one of the things. Emma Vigeland posted this. I don't remember. I wish I could remember where this article was. I actually read this article this morning. Thought it was on my outline, and I don't see it. So it might be from a Substack I read. But Emma here from the Majority Report said, did you know under the Trump, the U.S. Army created a new reserve unit called Detachment 201, which appointed tech executives, one from Palantir, one from Meta, and two from OpenAI to the high rank of lieutenant colonel despite having no military experience. These are your oligarchs. Palantir, who is privatizing like our surveillance state, got Shyam Sankar, Andrew Bosworth from Meta, and then both Kevin Well and Bob McGrew from OpenAI. No military experience. Because Trump has sold the military. Do you guys know that? If he's not selling the military, explain this to me. Jealousy. Shut the fuck up. That's what a dumb person says. You're just jealous. Why are we doing that? Why do you think all of these companies have private military contracts now? They have access to all of our information now. They can watch everything that you do. Palantir knows everything you're doing right now. There's nothing you can hide from Palantir. And they are a private company. And they've been given that ability by Donald Trump. Why? Because they gave him money. Does he know that he's handing off an oligarchy? I don't know. He's really fucking stupid. He probably doesn't know. I think my contention is he's just a useful idiot, and as soon as he dies, all these people will abandon him. They'll abandon you. They'll abandon his family. They just need him right now. And because you guys love him, you think this is a good thing. Their brains, they don't make military decisions. How do you know they don't make military decisions? Hell Hydra. How do you know that? How do you know that they're not the ones that are providing the information to Pete Hegseth to give him have him make the decision? Just because on paper they're not the decision makers doesn't mean they're not making decisions. Doesn't mean they can't influence decisions. Doesn't mean they can't manipulate information. Yeah, it's my real voice tone. Do you want me to, is it not getting you hard, SFLA? Do you want me to talk deeper so you can get your dick hard? Is that better for you?
He probably likes it. That's why he's getting upset.
Okay.
That's probably what he's struggling with.
Well, it's crazy to watch. We're just showing corrupt government, and they're like, your voice sounds feminine. I don't like your voice. That's why Trump likes you. But I want to talk about some other things. Like they're just going around Trump. This is a story that broke today. DeepSeek. Remember DeepSeek? Remember everybody was confused with DeepSeek? Remember that story came out from DeepSeek and it's like they were using outdated chips because they didn't have access to our chips. They didn't have to. It's free. Turns out DeepSeek has access to our, what are they called? Is it the Blackwell chip? Is that what it's called? Bree, I'm glad you're here. Is it called the Blackwell chip? Oh, it probably says in here. Yeah, Blackwell. Chinese AI startup DeepSeek is developing its next AI model using thousands of NVIDIA's advanced Blackwell chips that are banned from export to China, according to a report from The Information, citing 6 sources familiar with the situation. I think The Guardian was maybe the first dangerous site. That's not good. Let me find a different source for this. Why would that be a dangerous site? Investing.com. Let me see. Search this real quick. I just didn't want to pay for it. Let me find a different. Let's see. Yahoo has it too.
So, is that why we have glitching issues? Because you're clicking on dangerous sites? Is that our problem?
That could be it. Here's Yahoo has it. Everybody has the exact same story. I think it was. I remember who first had it. I guess they're saying it was. Who'd they say? The information. I don't know who the information is. Most NVIDIA chips are produced in Taiwan and distributed through a complex global network of distributors and resellers. Access to NVIDIA's latest technology gives DeepSeek a competitive advantage in the AI sector, both domestically and internationally. Despite the Chinese government's efforts to promote locally developed alternatives, Chinese AI chips still lack capabilities needed for training AI models. On the heels of Donald Trump saying that we can actually give some of these chips to China, not the Blackwell chips, those are still banned, looks like China's figured out a way to get it. And you might say to yourself, that's surprising. That's real surprising. Guess what? Would you be surprised to know, Republicans, you missed this because you were arguing if you're here every day. Would you be surprised to know that I told you this was going to happen like 6 weeks ago? I'll show you the video. Those of you might remember this. It might have been 4 weeks ago. Probably 4 to 6 weeks ago. You guys remember her? Tech, but make it real. Remember me showing you this video? And we told you that these tech companies were the ones that were giving Donald Trump money, the ones that he's protecting, that they were going around all of his rules, and he didn't even know that they were going around his rules, and they were providing these chips to China because they don't give a fuck about America. They only give a fuck about their company. We told you about it. Here's a refresher.
Biggest competitor? Yes, but remember the good old rule? If you can't beat them, join them. Nebius is NVIDIA's European representative. And if you study them closely, you will see that there is a sophisticated legal workaround that takes advantage of the regulatory geography. When it comes to AI, especially given the current geopolitical situation, location is everything. And in many ways, the US itself has created a 3-tiered system for AI chip export.
So just for a refresher, I don't remember she'll show the chart, but NVIDIA was not allowed to sell chips to China, and I believe India as well. And so what they did is they created shell companies. This one in particular was called, what did she say it was called? Nebius. And I don't remember, it was in Holland, or I can't remember what country it was in. Netherlands, I don't remember, Sweden maybe. Anyways, they created Nebius. And what Nebius is a company that's owned by NVIDIA, but they don't sell the chip and they don't sell the GPUs, they lease them. And there was no restrictions for them. So they got around the export rules that Trump gave them to protect them, but they still wanted to make money. So while Trump is banning all of these other tech companies and all of you guys from selling your products and fucking over all the farmers and making sure that farmers can't sell soybeans to China because China bad, NVIDIA paid him a bunch of money, and then they just did a little workaround, and they've been selling these chips to DeepSeek. They've been selling these chips to China and to India behind our backs. And they're the ones that you guys are giving tax breaks to. They're the ones that have a seat at the table. They're the ones that now have seats inside the government. They literally, this is why I'm saying, like, Trump is just the useful idiot. They tell him one thing and go behind his back. And do you think he's going to do anything about this? Not a goddamn thing.
That creates massive advantage for companies in the right locations. Tier 1, unlimited access. All US allies, including the European Union, UK, Canada, Australia, Israel, and Japan. Restrictions? None. Can buy H100s, H200s, and the future Blackwell GPUs.
So those are all the places we could sell to, that NVIDIA was allowed to sell to. This is what Trump set up. Here's who you can sell to.
The company in question, Nebius, is headquartered in Amsterdam, which means Tier 1 access. Tier 2 countries, limited access. India, Brazil, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and most other countries that are not heavily sanctioned. Restrictions? Listen closely. Maximum of 50,000 H100 GPUs. Put a pin on this. I'll come back to it. This is important.
Now, we'll get back to that, but that number, while it seems small, what it did is they were allowed a larger number than they actually need so that they could also sell them. So NVIDIA, Trump, they worked out a deal with Trump, and Trump's like, here's who I trust. I trust, excuse me, let me go back. I trust the US, EU, Canada, Australia, Japan. You can sell it there. Who I kind of trust is India, Brazil, UAE, Saudi Arabia, but I don't want them to get our best stuff, and I want it to be limited. So they came back to Trump, and they're like, 50,000 H100 equivalent GPUs, we'll cut it there. And Trump doesn't know what any of that means, and nobody around Trump knows what any of that means. But they knew, NVIDIA knew that these countries couldn't use even close to all of that. So what would they do with that? They would sell it outside of our market, outside of our regulation. So these countries, India, Brazil, UAE, Saudi Arabia, who have been giving Trump a bunch of money, why do you think they're giving him so much fucking money? Because they're cutting deals behind his back. They're cutting deals behind his back, and they're paying him to not notice. So now these companies are taking NVIDIA chips and they're reselling them. So there's that loophole already, and then we get to tier 3.
Listen closely. Maximum of 50,000 H100 GPUs. Put a pin on this. I'll come back to it. This is important. And lastly, tier 3 countries that are severely restricted and sanctioned. And you guessed it, China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran.
Yeah, all the bad guys, right? So how'd they get our chips? So your president's an idiot. God, they got quiet. The MAGA got quiet. My God, they got quiet.
Restrictions only downgraded chips. H20s instead of H100s, H800s instead of H200s. NVIDIA, as an American company, must comply with American laws, but they're not going to miss out on this entire chunk. So what did they do? They partnered with Nebius. And here's how Nebius, I don't want to say the word exploit because they're not really exploiting. They're using the system that lets them do this. So this is how Nebius and NVIDIA's schema works. Nebius operates from Amsterdam. Tier 1 location, unrestricted access to the world's most advanced AI chips. Nebius.
All right, we kind of explained that already, but just basically speaking, it was their workaround. Now, here's the question. Why is it that this tech, but make it real, I don't remember her name, who's brilliant and much smarter than me, she could figure this out. I could listen to it and figure it out. Our audience could listen and figure this out. There are 5,000 videos just like this on YouTube of regular people figuring this out. And somehow it's just the Republicans that can't figure it out. This is what happens when you take a president who's a dipshit and you purchase a VP who is owned by these oligarchs, and then you let the president fill the cabinet full of dipshits, loyalists. What maybe I underestimated is when Trump came into office is that we watched all these people flock. I admit I was slow to this, that they weren't flocking to him because of him. They weren't flocking to him because they were afraid of him, which I think is initially what I thought, that they were all just being pussies. And what we now can see pretty clearly is they flocked to him because he's incompetent, he's dumb, and he's manipulable. Manipulable. What is that word? Manipulable? How do you even say it? He can be manipulated. How do you even say that? That's why. Malleable is a better word. Is manipulatable a word? Manipulatable. I can't say it. I can read it. All right, listen, I was born and raised in Utah. The fact that I put G's on the end of my word occasionally is pretty good. Every once in a while I use correct grammar, so give me a break. That's what happened here. So all this whole trade war that was meant to protect AI, it didn't protect us. We lost. And we lost because NVIDIA paid Donald Trump to distract him. And now they've got the chips. There's not a goddamn thing we can do about it. And they can probably now manufacture those chips. It's pronounced mountain. It's mountain. Heather said, do you think we have a chance to fight back? Yeah, we got to keep fighting back. The more this stuff comes out, the more people are going to, like, it's becoming transparent. You'll notice that the Republicans went away here. When you see Republicans retreating from a discussion, they know they've lost. So yeah, I do think we can fight back. But what it's going to take on our side of the aisle is it's going to take us no longer being okay with mediocre fucking Democrats. No more. We can't carry water for them. Man nipple blow. Thank you, Lucian. We can't carry water for mediocre fucking Democrats. Lorraine is a Republican. Thanks for staying here, Lorena. It's good to have you. Hopefully this is making sense to you. And maybe there's more of you than I thought, where you see this and you recognize, holy shit, these people just played the president. Or to be, they have all our tech. They have even been improving on this. It's insane. Yeah, they're gonna blow us out of the water. Trump got absolutely played by all these people. And what they get out of it is they get full control of our economy. And they get all the money. They want to be oligarchs. They've been saying they want to be oligarchs. The remarkable thing is that all of these people that Trump has been putting in his cabinet and surrounding himself with, they have publicly said democracy should die and we want to be oligarchs. And Republicans were like, yeah, they didn't really mean it. And here they are. They're just doing it. Every aspect of our life is watched, is directed. We have no control over our economy. We have no say in our economy. And it may take it on YouTube here in a second. There's a little bit of a delay, but the warning went away.
It looks like it's back.
Looks like it's back? Okay.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think we're good.
There we go. All right. It is all creators that speak against it. Is it really? I don't know. I mean, would you be surprised? Look what they do. Would we be surprised? Lee said, thanks to the daily deep dive and education. I appreciate you guys coming along with me. I'm glad that I don't have to do this alone because I'm learning at the same time as you are. Maybe just a couple hours earlier. Zap said, I'm stealing cuck skate. Ronnie, thank you for joining the dollar train as well. Good question, by the way, Heather. I appreciate that. Yeah, it just takes... I think we had a real shot to stop this in the last election, and we didn't force Democrats to do the right thing. We didn't force Harris to do the right thing. I don't even think it's really about like finding the right candidate. It's about forcing our candidates to do the right thing. We shouldn't say like here what like even with we started with Jasmine Crockett, like even with Crockett. If enough of us were speaking out about like if enough people put pressure on Crockett to say like I'm to go back and change her stance or to say like I don't agree with my old stance on Israel and like I won't take AIPAC money, which I think she's gonna say she doesn't take AIPAC money. I think we can put pressure on the people that we like so we can take a good communicator. What kind of sucks about Texas is that James Talarico is probably the best communicator we have, and Jasmine Crockett is probably the best fighter we have. And so we have like two of our actually like candidates that I think with the right messaging and with the right team could be the most effective, and they're going to go up against each other, and that kind of sucks. John Gotti, shut the fuck up. She's so much smarter than you. You spelled half your words wrong, and you're saying she's dumb and unqualified. She's a successful lawyer. She's incredibly smart. Shut up. We're not. John, you're muted for a little while. Just kidding. You can stay for a second. Did I watch her last shoot? I saw your last sentence, dipshit. I said, you just asked me if I saw her last shoot. What is her last shoot? You don't even know. You can't even explain what you saw. Just based off what I've watched is all. What have you watched? Her shoot? Jasmine's not smart and wouldn't be where she's at without DEI. Oh, excuse me. She won an election. How can an election be DEI? How were her grades in high school? Let's see. Where did she go to law school? Where did Jasmine Crockett go to law school? By the way, interesting that you talk about DEI. Your party's the one that's trying to say that that girl who failed her test should be able to get an A on her test because of her beliefs, right? Because she's a Christian. She went to Rhodes College for undergraduate, got a BA in business administration, went to University of Houston Law Center. Is Rhodes College hard to get into? I don't know anything about Rhodes College. Are you just saying because she's black? Do you know anything about her? No, you don't, River? Let's see if there were any DEI programs she might have benefited from. Said that she would be she should be hired as early in her career. She said let's see. I think there's a clip.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah. That's it. She just passed law school. Here it is. See how, look at how quickly the Republicans started talking again once we brought up a black woman. Once they could insult a black woman. We talked about economics. We talked about corporate malfeasance, and all these dipshits were quiet. You guys have been quiet for the last 30 minutes. We bring up a black woman, and all of a sudden you have something to say. Isn't that crazy? You guys all saw it. You've been here. Where were you guys for the last 30 minutes? Where were you? We didn't understand it, and so we left. But now you're saying Jasmine Crockett, and we know black equals DEI, and we're not racist at all, but we're here to talk bad about black women. I didn't block anybody. For the last 40 minutes, you guys were quiet. Don't tell me. I'm letting you talk now. I'm letting you be. You're sitting here disparaging a black woman. Nobody's blocked you. Are you telling me, River, that you got blocked? You got blocked when we were talking about economics? No, you didn't understand it. That's why. Yeah, we can't have MAGA redefine things. DEI means that you have to consider somebody who is black. And they have to meet the criteria. All DEI means, for the dumb racist motherfuckers here, is that if somebody is qualified, you cannot choose not to interview them or consider them for being black, or a woman, or gay, or an immigrant. That's all it means. It has nothing to do with qualifications. It has everything to do with preventing racist pieces of shit like you from saying that person's not qualified because they are black. But none of you actually understanding this. Again, yeah, that's a good point. DEI protects veterans. That if you have a veteran who is qualified for the job, you must consider them. If somebody has a physical disability, DEI-A, which you always leave out. If somebody has a disability, but they are qualified, you have to consider them. That's it. I'm sorry that black women are going to college and they're smarter than you, and you can shout that black women are dumb until you're blue in the face all you want. But I'd like to point out that, like, the black women in this chat were the ones that sat through that last 40 minutes and explained it. When I needed help understanding what I'm watching these tech videos, I don't go to you. I go to Bree. It was the black women here in the chat that are helping me learn this stuff, and then I have to explain it to dumbasses like you, and it's too much information, so you run. See how chatty you guys are now? Watch. We're going to not talk about Jasmine anymore. I'm going to talk about economics now, and watch all of these losers go quiet. I want to talk about another way that this administration is fucking us over. Our entire economy now is betting. The stock market is betting, and betting is betting. And now Polymarket, who shout out to Young Turks for, is it Polymarket they took the money from? Everything is betting now. Yeah, Republicans, you can leave now. We're not talking about Jasmine Crockett anymore. Anybody who's talking about DEI in the chat or Jasmine Crockett, they have to be muted because now we're back to economics. You guys can talk about economics. With this, if you can just see, like, this incentivizes people to not change their mind. So if we allow this stuff to keep happening, and let's just say that, for example, let's just use Anthony Weiner as a good example. Let's say that you had bet that Anthony Weiner was running for re-election before the scandal, or he's running for some office before the scandal, and you had bet $10,000 that Anthony Weiner was going to win. And then the scandal comes out. Are you going to change your vote? Probably not, right? You're now incentivized to cover that up, to lie about it. In fact, even to fight harder to convince people that it's no big deal what Anthony Weiner did. This is why it's a problem. It shouldn't be involved in politics. And if you get enough people to gamble and bet on an underdog, you can see what happens. You can see how our markets can be manipulated by public sentiment. We can go back again to like the GameStop stock, where a bunch of just everyday people decided that they were going to fuck over these massive hedge funds who had shorted GameStop, and they just kept investing. And even though GameStop wasn't making more money, or the company wasn't doing better, the stock skyrocketed. All because of speculation. And a lot of those people could have sold. A lot of people, everybody probably realized that like GameStop wasn't worth what its stock price was, but they were incentivized to keep doing it. That you shouldn't have this in politics. You shouldn't have this on even if you go like Kalshi's similar. It's like, what will the approval rating be? Like if I say that Trump's approval rating is going to be above 45% at the end of January, and I see that he's at 42%, I'm going to be incentivized to try and change that public sentiment. And people with a lot of money who have access to, for example, Elon Musk, he can literally turn on and off and change the algorithm to get the outcomes that he wants. And we saw that. We saw that he did that with Twitter. He changed the algorithms. And then they promoted betting. Hey, look at this. Look over here. You can bet. You can bet on Trump. Tell your friends, bet on Trump. Trump to the moon. This is not a good, this is late stage capitalism. Where we don't really have markets anymore. We're just guessing. Like trillions of dollars now, I think, is wrapped up in the betting economy. It's ruined sports. It's ruining politics. It's ruining finances. It's ruining TV shows. There was a, I think it's in here, but they'll probably cover it. But like people with insider information now for like award shows, they can go bet, and there's no regulation here, because the people that want this to keep going are paying off government officials not to regulate this.
Scene of mainstream politics.
That's not what it was. It wasn't a signal through the noise. It created more noise. It gave all of these people, and then like the story goes, then the poly market odds go from 3% to 5% to 20%, and when it hits 20%, suddenly it's a story, and then the story's on CNN, and they're like, look at this. Now it's up to 20% of people are betting that Joe Biden will step down, and then more people are like, "Oh shit, I can bet on that." It's moving in that direction. This is a good bet, and then it's oh my god, it's 50% now, and then more people bet, and then it gets to 70%, and people are like, "Oh, it's a surety that he's going to step down," and then even more people bet it. It's manipulation. It's not speculation on, like, it drives the decision. It's not guessing and then the decision happens. This is driving decision making. It is convincing people to just believe where their money is. It's one of the reasons I hate fantasy football. I think fantasy football for me ruined football because it used to be like we'd sit down, we all had a team, we'd root for our team, and now I sit down with my friends, I'm watching football, and all they want, could you, go turn on Red Zone. Oh, Christian McCaffrey just got a touchdown. He's on my fantasy team. I'm like, I don't care. I just wanted to watch the game. And it turned the game into something else. And then you had sports betting, which admitted, like, I was a professional sports bettor for a while. And as a professional sports bettor, it made me hate sports. I didn't enjoy watching any games. I actually stopped watching. The way that I bet was like, it wasn't based on like my own knowledge of sports. It was about markets and like finding holes in the market. But I didn't even want to watch the games anymore. It ruined it for me. I didn't even like my teams anymore. I stopped being a fan at all. This stuff fucks all of it up. Now, yeah, I agree. Like for some people, it made you care about football. But it didn't make you care about the outcomes. You don't care who wins. Right? If you have Matthew Stafford on your team and they lose, but he gives you a 50 burger, did you care that they lost? No. You care about the game within the game now, not the game itself. This type of stuff is a real fucking problem. And there are people, their full-time job now is this. That's not bringing value to anybody. And now these same people are lobbying Trump to do no tax on gambling winnings. They don't want to tax gambling winnings anymore. Somebody explain how this is a couple $1 trillion industry now. Can somebody explain how that's good for us?
This is the main page for politics.
Yes, on the Irish election. And that election, I think Conor McGregor was involved in that too. But they have kind of a similar issue that we have here, where you've got a faction of really mediocre, racist white dudes claiming that their country's being taken over and overthrown by immigrants. If you were here in this country and you were to bet that the white supremacist was going to win the election, then you're also going to, every time you see something that confirms or that would suggest that the white supremacist should win, you're going to repost that. You're going to set it out there. You're going to engage with that content. Every time you engage with that content, it adds to the algorithm of it, people like you engaging with that content. So then people who aren't betting on this, eventually you're going to start seeing that content. And it's driven by your bet. Right? Now you're not even talking about ideology, ideas at all. You're just talking about, I want this person to win because I will win money. It is so fucking American. Somebody mentioned in the UK this is banned. Of course this should be banned. Nobody should be able to bet on politics. Of course we shouldn't be able to bet on politics. But in America, for whatever reason, we let all these people make money. Oh, they're making money? Money is always number one. Who cares if we destroy our institutions? I can bet on politics. Junior is on their advisory board. This is an illegal operation, and the president's son is on this advisory board. There have been a lot of allegations that, like, for example, what was there was something, I can't remember what the legislation that was passed that they bet on. There's plenty of evidence that says insider trading's happening all the time. So our president's son is sitting here on the board. But Hunter Biden, right?
Prediction markets can take all these disparate opinions that people are pontificating about.
August, nobody's asking where you would rather live. Stop being such a fucking coward and just address what we're doing right now. Stop it, dude. Nobody's asking. Address what's happening right now. Do you think this should happen or not? Engage in the conversation. You're not tough or strong or brilliant for saying something that fucking dumb. I understand that you don't like me or what I'm saying, but engage here. Do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing, Argus? Make that decision and then decide who you're going to support. Then decide, like, if this is bad, then advocate to your friends and family that Trump and his people don't support this anymore. Don't be afraid to go against them. You can still vote for whoever the fuck you want, but this is objectively bad. There's nothing about this that is beneficial to the United States. We should be able to agree with that. Just because I'm the one saying it, or 60 Minutes is, or Anderson Cooper is, doesn't mean you should just like change the subject.
Or that they have really good reason.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Appreciate it. You do advocate against Trump. I'm unafraid. Good. $1 million. This shouldn't exist. We need to have a real discussion about like what things should exist in the economy. He made $3 million, and most people on there lost millions of dollars. It shouldn't exist. And by the way, they also aren't making money. Like Polymarket isn't really making money yet. They're still pre-revenue. So at some point, they're either going to have to start taking more off the top, or they're going to have to start selling ads, or they're going to sell your data. And they're going to take every keystroke that you make on their website, and they're going to sell that to somebody else who wants to manipulate you. Everybody likes to think that they're independent and that they make their own choices, but you're out of, like, there's nobody that is immune to programming, to propaganda, to algorithms. I do this for a living, and every day somebody mentions like a blind spot that I have. Every single day somebody mentions a blind spot, heavy gambler, and you're preaching scruples. I'm not talking about scruples. I don't think gambling should be legal. I made a lot of money gambling, and there were a lot of people while I was a gambler that were losing money, and I'm not. In fact, that's why I stopped doing it. I didn't feel good about what I was doing. I didn't feel it added no benefit to society. The people that were following me for what I was doing weren't able to replicate what I did. So there were people who were trying to replicate what I did, and they were losing money, and then they were upset. Some of them gambling away, tens of thousands of dollars. I don't think it should exist. Yeah, some of us can learn. I remember I worked at a call center one time, and this dude had a bookie. And his bookie said, any account that you bring me, I'll give you 10% of their losses. And so we were all like pretty close. This group of people that I worked with, there were probably 200 people, and we were all pretty close. And one dude brought in access to this bookie, and you could bet online. He had a little website. It was all illegal, and all these people inside of our call center started betting all the time. And like it caused 3 divorces. There was one guy that like had to take out a second mortgage on his home to pay it off. It was ruining relationships with people at work. It was ruining relationships because this kid had to like collect the money from people who were down. He couldn't collect the money, and then the guy that he had set him up, that he's like, I'll vouch for these people. Then that guy was after him. It like destroyed the entire ecosystem of the company that I worked with. It broke up relationships. It ended friendships. It was crazy. Like this type of stuff adds no real benefit. I think that if you want to gamble, you should be able to gamble, but I think that you should have to go to places where it's legal. I would undo all of the legalization of sports betting. I think that if you're going to bet on sports, it should be limited to you have to go to a casino, and I don't think you should have live in-game betting. I think that there should be limits, and I think that you should be able to bet on like the outcome of a game, and that's about it. And even then, like you could probably find flaws in that logic, but it certainly is something that's very corrosive to our society. It's certainly something that isn't offering a benefit. And I would agree with you that me saying that this is a problem, if I was still doing it, would make me a hypocrite. But what I would say is like I have learned from this, and I think that my experience leads me to believe that this is a net negative on not only society, but like economically. This is not somewhat likable. We're not talking about Twump bad. By the way, look, I would just challenge you to go. When you watch when I say Trump bad, you got to throw your own partisanship out there. I think you would have a hard time if you watch this honestly. And now you see that like I'm being objective here. I think you'll realize that I am objective with Trump. You might disagree with me, but I never go after Trump just like Trump bad. I'm pretty specific with what I criticize. You might not agree with what I criticize, but like I'm not somebody who just comes on every day and is like, Trump's just bad. I do think he's an idiot. I do call him names. I think that's fair. He calls everybody else names. I don't think we need to protect him from name calling. But maybe think about that. You could disagree with me, but I don't think that I'm just like TDS. Everything Trump does is bad. I've given him credit for stuff that he does that you guys like. I say that he's good on the border. You guys like that what he did on the border. I've said that I think 2 days ago, we pointed out that like the amount of drilling and like this, that he's leveled off the price of gas. I think I can call balls and strikes with Trump. You just got to give me like the problem with Trump is he lies about everything. So it's kind of hard. I have to criticize him. Even when he does something well, he lies and says it's way better than what he did. Does Don Jr. understand how politics work? Don Jr.'s never worked in politics. Has he ever worked in the gambling industry? No, he's never done that either. His dad did, but he failed. You know more than Don Jr. does about all of this. Nobody's buying this shit. But just another reminder, are Republicans left? Maybe that's what we need to learn about. We just literally can't talk about like black women. That's how we get rid of Republicans. Talk about economics. I'm out of here. I'm not. They're going to work with traders, and then traders are going to create proprietary trading platforms. And now, in order to have an edge in poly market, you're going to have to pay to work with a trader, and the trader is going to have insider information, and the insider information is going to come from the president's son. No big deal. This is definitely good for us. This is definitely what you guys voted for. This is definitely what they meant. Yeah, I remember just sitting through Trump going on and on about how we needed to legalize gambling markets and how his kids needed to sit on the board and how we needed to take those gambling markets and make them publicly traded, and then the gambling markets would work within the advisors, and so that we would the access that the regular people had, the edge that regular people had, would be taken away, and we would give that edge instead to the bankers. Same thing they did with cryptocurrency. Uh-oh. We don't have an edge? That's not fair. Let's give the edge to the rich people again. So any of you that do like betting on Polymarket or Kalshi, just understand that they are now rigging it against you. It was like kind of a free market thing, but now they're going to rig it against you. And they're openly telling you, we're going to rig this against you. And they're pretending that them openly rigging this against you is regulation, and that this is validation that what they're doing is legitimate. In order for them to be legitimate, they had to let all the rich people be in on it. And now it's okay. Rhythm. This is the markets. So they're going to protect proprietary information. This isn't an algorithm. This isn't social media. They're going to place markets, and the insider information is going to funnel through the rich people, and then the rich people will force you to pay to get the access to the information that they have, and they're going to charge you a fee to do it. And so every time you win, they'll take a portion of that, and they'll tell you it's in the name of like, oh, we're the experts. You need to pay us for our services. But what their service is a rigged game where they're getting proprietary information. It's the same as the stock market. All of us, everybody here right now knows that you should be betting for a crash for anybody that's holding collateralized loan obligations. But we can't really do that because we don't have access to that bet, and we don't have the minimum requirements to even make that bet. Like I can't do an actual short on that position. I'm not capable of doing that because I don't have the capital requirements. I would have to pay somebody to make that investment for me. So they take away access for regular people like us to be able to make fair bets so that they can make $1 off of this. Our economy makes no fucking sense. It's a big fucking casino. We've decided that casinos are the ones that know how to do everything, and we've modeled our entire economy after casinos now. And casinos are rigged. Everybody knows the house always wins. The house isn't you or I or the Federal Reserve or Congress or the president. The house are the rich people. And the Republicans tell you all the time it's the government that's the problem. It's the Fed. They're printing money. Yeah, they do stuff on behalf of the rich people. But this entire game is rigged for the rich. Jay, isn't this some of the same type of shit they did in the 1920s that led to the Depression? Off the top of my head, I can't think of how this is too similar. No, I think this is far more like 2008, just like rampant speculation. I probably don't know enough about the 1920s to know. Somebody is smarter, somebody that knows more about the Great Depression could probably answer that better than me. I'm far more familiar with the financial collapse in 2008 than the Great Depression. Yeah, massive deregulation. Yeah, and allowing corruption. Yes, in that way, it's the same. Deregulation almost always leads to collapse. There's never been there's never a time in this country where you could point to like deregulation where it actually made things better. You can see like profits spike, but the massive deregulation, especially of the financial markets, never leads to good things.
Job's not done.
All right, Kobe. Job finish? What's there to smile about? All right, that's enough for me today. That's as much as I can take. We'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to talk potentially about the election. I've got some other stuff to talk about, but hopefully we're sufficiently aware that this whole fucking thing is rigged. And Republicans that stuck around today, I appreciate you guys being here. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every morning, 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, right here wherever you're watching. And as soon as we talk about it being rigged, we expect it to freeze again. Let me make sure I got all comments here. I got Jesse. I think that's it. All right, guys. Reminder, if you're on TikTok, I'll be on TikTok later today in a couple of hours. I think Liv said he'll be done with his work at 4:30 Eastern. So plan on maybe 4:30 my time, Mountain Time. I'll be on TikTok, and I'll be hanging out wherever Liv is. We're going to do a toy drive. The Amazon list for the wish list for the kids is in the Discord. You can find it there. And then we'll also have Jen, can you mute real quick? I'm just getting a ton of back. And then if you are there hanging out on TikTok, please don't gift me. If you want a gift, just look on the Amazon wish list and send gifts that way. But I can't turn off my own gifts. But if you would please, I want to make this about them. So please don't gift me if you're watching today. We'll try and get some debates. We'll have a good time. You can catch me there the rest of the day. What's up, Jen?
We got another Venmo said from Ryan. Fucking crazy. We need some accountability somewhere. Absolutely none anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, everybody be loud. Share these links. Share it with your friends. Share it far and wide. I will see you guys either later today or tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you see when we go live. And reminder, on Monday, we will have our next movie night. I will have that decision tomorrow as far as what movie we're going to watch. Make sure you're a paid subscriber on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch to join us there in Discord for movie night. I'm on Cameo. We have merch in the bio. You can follow us on any other social media platform. Mods, thanks. Great job today. I asked a lot out of you today. Dealing with MAGA. Jen, great job. Chat, great fucking job. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early. Take care of yourselves, stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.